This world's been wrecked by a demon war for ages, and humanity is getting absolutely steamrolled by the demon forces. This demon lord stands victorious over the ruins of civilization, but suddenly, a hero and his party appear to turn the tide. This demon lord doesn't seem too worried about this development, while our hero, Kang Hansu, immediately recognizes the immense power he's up against. These two leaders lock eyes, ready for the final showdown. So Hansu immediately casts a massive area of effect healing and buffing spell. His allies feel their strength and mana recovering instantly, which even gets the demon lord's attention for a moment, before he decides to just end this with his ultimate skill. Our hero was totally expecting that, countering with a light shield destruction. He gets the shield up just in time to test it out, and the demon lord is completely stunned that his ultimate was just tanked. But then something goes wrong. His party members start taking damage instead of healing, and Hansu has no idea why his healing skill is suddenly reversed. His entire party disintegrates right in front of him, leaving him completely vulnerable as the demon lord appears right behind him. This demon lord leans in, seemingly knowing exactly what just happened, and as system warnings pop up, it seems our hero's been trapped by a game glitch. Hansu is in total disbelief, trapped by a game glitch with no way to exit. This demon lord is actually impressed, thinking this guy is scarier than any demon for wiping out his own party. With the fight over, he casually floats down to his remaining troops, deciding that instead of killing Hansu, he's going to try and recruit him. He gets right in Hansu's face with a world conquest proposal, and our boy is just relieved this boss has a recruitment phase. Turns out this whole mess is happening because of a bug from the very first day of the game's internal test, a specific glitch that caused a party member to eliminate his own allies, which is exactly what just happened. So now Hansu is basically forced to join the demon camp, even getting offered a seat of honor. He's internally screaming at the system to let him log off, but the system mascot says it has no clue. Worried he'll be exposed as an amateur, he tries to file a complaint, but the system says it's pointless. Suddenly, both he and the demon lord look up as they hear a sound from above, and a succubus anicap named Sykes makes her grand entrance, immediately interested in Hansu. She gets way too close for comfort, asking if she can examine him in detail, leaving Hansu completely flustered and silently begging the system to fix the bug faster. Sykes ignores his discomfort and moves in to use her powers on him, her magic taking effect as his eyes begin to glow under her influence. But Hansu immediately counters her attempt to control him, pushing back hard. She's completely stunned that he could resist her power so easily, while the demon lord just tells him to be gentle as his minions watch with hard eyes. Sykes is left crying out as Hansu completely turns the tables on her. Sykes is in total disbelief that he could resist her temptation, but Hansu just smirks, revealing he's the one who wrote her seductive character settings in the first place. Turns out, our boy is actually one of the game's original developers, and he smugly remembers how easy it was to manipulate his own creations, including the demon lord. He figures he can handle this whole situation, as long as the one rebellious character he designed doesn't show up. But at that exact moment, a new presence is felt in the throne room. Hansu immediately senses the danger and puts some distance between himself and Sykes, just as shadow shackles erupt from the floor, and the demon lord recognizes the attack instantly. Our hero is completely bound by the chains, realizing his worst-case scenario has just arrived. A new powerful demon appears, and Sykes seems to recognize him as her father. This is Shade, commander of the Shadow Army, and Hansu is internally screaming. Shade, however, coldly denies being her father, dismissing her completely. Hansu's panic skyrockets as he remembers he gave this specific demon powerful mind-reading abilities. This commander turns his full attention to Hansu, demanding answers with a death threat. So Hansu tries to play it cool, telling Shade he needs to be worthy of an answer. That little bit of sass earns him an immediate full-power attack from Shade, a high-level assassination skill called Shadow Star that's designed to ignore all defenses. But just before it hits, the demon lord teleports in front of Hansu to block the fatal blow, telling Shade this is his territory and demanding to know why he's attacking one of his people. Shade just glares back through his monocle, clearly not about to stand down. To counter the mind reading, Hansu projects some very specific, distracting thoughts, flooding Shade's mind with images of being surrounded by adoring fans, and focusing on the most attention-grabbing details he can possibly imagine. This demon lord tries to calm Shade down, promising Hansu will be respectful, while Hansu is internally freaking out, knowing Shade is way stronger than his new boss. Shade seems to pick up on the thoughts, repeating them out loud with total confusion, which leaves the demon lord completely baffled by what's happening. Suddenly, the demon lord's eyes start glowing red as the mental attack hits him instead, and he immediately starts striking a series of ridiculously flashy poses. Shade is absolutely mortified by this display, while Hansu's gambit pays off perfectly. Deciding he's had enough, Shade announces he's leaving to report to the king, giving Hansu one last threatening look on his way out. With Shade gone, the demon lord gets way too friendly, and Hansu realizes he's still in trouble. A system window confirms the bug is still active, so he can't log out, forcing him to make a new plan to escape the demon camp and find the angels. He makes a break for it, stepping over the passed-out minions on the floor. But before he can get far, the demon lord's voice rings out, telling him to stop. Hansu confronts him, but the demon lord just boasts about his title and tolerance. Before his expression turns sinister, pointing out how weirdly Hansu acted around Shade, our boy is completely cornered, realizing the demon lord wasn't fooled for a second. Hansu starts sweating bullets, realizing the demon lord might have seen through his whole act, and his new boss gets way too close, demanding to know if Shade tried to secretly recruit him. This demon lord immediately starts begging him to stay, promising to give him whatever he wants. and Hansu is just internally grateful he designed this guy to be so easily manipulated. So he plays it cool smoothly, saying Shade isn't even worthy enough to make him an offer, which the Demon Lord completely buys, asking where his new brother is planning to go. Hansu is completely over this, trying to get the clingy Demon Lord to let go of him, so he cooks up a lie about needing to gather resources from the melting fire cave for the clan, conveniently forgetting to mention that's also where he plans to find the angels. He points dramatically, declaring he has his own business to take care of there. Meanwhile, at a different battlefield, two members of the Angel clan survey the devastating aftermath, with one of them confused how a small demon squad could cause so much destruction. To find out what really happened, she decides to use a special ability, praying to the Lord of Time, activating a high-level angel magic called Mirage of the Past to replay the battle. This spell reveals a shocking vision of Hansu single-handedly wiping out the entire hero's party, and from their perspective, he looks like an unbelievably powerful and terrifying new enemy. These angels are completely horrified, mistaking him for a legendary demon lord they've only heard rumors about. This leader immediately declares Hansu public enemy #1 of the entire angel clan. And with a new target in their sights, they're now more determined than ever to win the war. Their next battlefield is the exact same volcanic region Hansu is heading towards. Hansu makes it to the volcanic secret realm, only to find the clingy demon lord followed him for protection. He flat out tells the guy he's here to find the angels, which understandably confuses his new demon boss. Realizing words won't work, Hansu decides it's time to get a little more persuasive to make him leave. But before they can argue, a massive energy beam erupts from the lava below them, creating a huge pillar of fire that gets the attention of some local monsters. This demon lord immediately gets fired up, telling his brother to stand back and let him handle this. Two new combatants appear from the flames, with one setting up a defensive position. Hansu quickly realizes the area is filled with a damage over time effect that ignores all defenses. He figures a little more firepower would be enough to wipe these minions out for good, even confidently telling the Demon Lord that he can easily take care of them himself. Except the plan immediately fails, as the beast monster starts rapidly healing instead of taking more damage. With his attack being useless, Hansu tries to refocus on his main goal of finding the angel camp. He's trying to play it cool, but it's obvious he's also taking damage from something. As a healer, he casts a quick Starshine heal on himself to patch things up, but the spell completely backfires, causing him to lose a huge chunk of health instead. A system window pops up, revealing he's been hit with a new passive skill called Clumsy Hands. This new passive literally inverts the effect of every single skill he uses, and he's forced to accept it. This system mascot appears, admitting it has no clue what this new bug is, leaving Hansu totally screwed. While he's distracted by this game-breaking development, one of the monsters lunges at him from above, but the Demon Lord instantly intercepts, furious that anyone would dare sneak attack his new favorite person. This Demon Lord is still in full protect my new brother mode, completely ignoring his own troops getting wrecked below. And unfortunately for them, a whole army of lava monsters is crawling up to join the party. Hansu quickly assesses the situation, realizing their escape route is totally cut off, so he tells the Demon Lord to get his head in the game, pointing out they have to fight if they want anyone to survive. Taking the hint, the Demon Lord dives into the fray with a flashy-sounding attack, while Hansu is also in the mix, trying to speed blitz the monsters and land some critical hits, and his new boss is just screaming at himself to go even faster. His minions are trying their best to hold the line against these tough-looking rock beasts, but it's pretty clear they're getting absolutely demolished. Even the Demon Lord is struggling, internally cursing himself for designing this stage to be so difficult. Hansu looks on in a cold sweat, seeing their whole plan is falling apart fast. Just then, a massive monster with glowing red eyes pops up right behind him for a sneak attack, and our boy knows these things are just slowing down his real mission. Meanwhile, the Demon Lord is completely swamped and starts pathetically calling for help. Hansu grits his teeth, knowing there's no way he can get to him in time. Deciding on a new, much riskier strategy, he prepares a massive all-or-nothing attack, activating a skill called Starlight Punishment Moon Sickle, and gathering a huge ball of light energy. He unleashes a gigantic wave of power with a declaration that they'll all go down together, which makes the Demon Lord scream that there's no time to be hiding from the fight. And in Hansu's eye, you can see the reflection of his own devastating attack, except his all-or-nothing attack completely backfires, instead hitting the Demon Lord and his minions with a massive healing wave. This Demon Lord feels the sudden surge of energy, his eyes glowing red with newfound power, and he roars, feeling absolutely incredible after getting hit by what should have been a fatal blast. Hansu can only stare in disbelief, realizing the full extent of his Clumsy Hands curse. It finally clicks that the passive skill inverted his attack, turning it into a ridiculously powerful area of effect buff. He laments that this is totally useless for himself, since he still can't cast a simple heal. But then a system window pops up, congratulating him on leveling up from Assistance Experience. He's stunned to see he's getting EXP from his allies' kills, and the level up even boosted all his stats. A new strategy starts to form. If he can't be the damage dealer, he'll just become the best support in the game. With a wicked grin, our boy realizes he's just found the perfect exploit to survive this mess. Hansu stands confidently amidst the chaos, ready to put his new plan into action. He pulls out a buffing item, telling the Demon Lord to get ready for a proper killing spree. His new boss is totally hyped, leading the charge as the minions get ready for round 2. Hansu unleashes another wave of power, channeling it directly into the Demon Lord's crew. System windows confirm the buffs are insane, jacking up their strength and defense by 100 points each. This Demon Lord feels completely invincible, telling Hansu he's never letting his new favorite person leave. While the demons go on a rampage, Hansu just rakes in the EXP, leveling up 4 times in a row. But in his power-drunk state, the demon lord fails to notice a massive rock monster sneaking up on him, and he immediately panics, screaming for his brother to save him from his own carelessness. Hansu just gives him a cool, confident smirk, promising that as long as he's here, everyone is perfectly safe. With the demon lord in a pinch, Hansu decides to test out a new skill, wrapping him in glowing chains, activating Stardust Chain, an ability that's originally supposed to drain an enemy's health, but thanks to his bug, it now randomly transfers a powerful buff to whoever he hits with it. This chains shatter dramatically after linking with the monster threatening his boss, and the creature gets completely obliterated in a massive explosion. This resulting blast is so huge it clears out a good chunk of the immediate area. His demon boss is absolutely losing his mind over how amazing Hansu is, telling him to just sit back and watch. But Hansu isn't celebrating, because he's already spotted more trouble on the horizon. At that exact moment, the demon lord screams for him to watch out as a new wave of monsters closes in. This guy immediately panics, admitting he missed a few and his strength hasn't recovered yet. So Hansu casts Stardust Chain on himself, knowing the inverted skill will grant him a random buff instead. A system window confirms he's gained the Metal Fighter buff, instantly making him an expert at close combat. He realizes with a smirk that the bug just handed him one of the strongest combat skills in the entire game. Meanwhile, in another part of the volcanic realm, a squad of demons stands guard in some ancient ruins. They spot a lone figure approaching, wondering who would dare trespass on Lord Doom's territory. It's a high-level angel, and a quick scan reveals she's a well-equipped group combat specialist. This demons mock her, smelling alcohol and assuming her reaction time will be slow, a fatal miscalculation. This angel just calmly tells her unseen allies not to worry about what she's doing, before blitzing through the demon ranks in a blinding flash of red light. She unleashes her ultimate speed technique, effortlessly taking them all down in an instant. With the demon grunts taken care of, the angel leader Meng Fan announces she's ready to hunt her real target. But her allies warn her that even as the strongest angel, she has no idea what this new enemy is capable of. She's not worried in the slightest, convinced that no matter how powerful he is, everyone has a weakness. And she's dead set on finding it so she can personally put him in the ground. Back with Hansu, he's using another inverted skill to unleash a massive Stardust Storm on the remaining monsters, which completely clears the field, leaving him looking smug as his Demon Lord fanboy cheers him on. But just as they're about to move on, a surprise attack comes flying right at Hansu's head. He casually raises his skull staff, effortlessly blocking the projectile with a small burst of energy, stopping the attack cold just inches from his face. Our boy is mostly just annoyed, wondering who would dare sneak attack someone as great as him. He looks up and spots a lone warrior standing on a distant cliff, surrounded by a faint aura, and it's none other than the high-level angel, Li Mengfan, who is clearly not here to talk. Hansu's immediate reaction isn't fear, but a full-on blush, because of course his fated enemy is a total knockout. This demon lord is a little more concerned, asking his brother what their plan is now that the angels have arrived. Meanwhile, Mengfan's backup is stunned that Hansu just shrugged off her attack and is now walking right toward them. They look at the field of defeated rock monsters, realizing he must have caused all this destruction himself. Mengfan watches intently as Hansu and his demon sidekick close the distance between them. Instead of fighting, Hansu strikes a flashy pose, welcoming her as if he's been expecting her all along. From her perspective, however, he looks like a terrifying demon with glowing red eyes, promising he's been waiting for her. And Mengfan meets his gaze with pure killing intent, ready to take down the monster she believes him to be. Mengfan immediately lunges forward, her sword glowing with a furious red aura. Their blades lock in a tense standoff, but Hansu is smiling like this is just another Tuesday. Her backup flies down, screaming that the demon will die, while Hansu just asks why they're even attacking. She completely ignores his attempt to talk, charging up another attack and telling him to shut up and die. Hansu uses an observation skill, realizing he only has a few seconds left on his Metal Fighter buff. The two of them trade blows in a high-speed aerial clash, sparks flying everywhere. And with his eye glowing, Hansu warns her that time is running out, and she'd better listen. Mengfen unleashes her full power, wings spread wide, challenging him to face her ultimate attack. Her angel sword comes crashing down in a massive pillar of light, but Hansu meets it head-on with his own powerful chi-slash technique. These two attacks collide in a blinding explosion of energy that rocks the entire area. As the dust settles, Mengfan is still screaming for the demon to die, so Hansu's blade glows with a final decisive power-up. He lands a clean hit, calmly telling her she's lost as she looks on in total shock. This attack leaves a glowing red X across her body, signaling a critical strike. Mengfan is completely stunned, unable to comprehend his overwhelming strength. She plummets from the sky, defeated, as the demon lord's minions watch from below. Seeing their chance, the minions roar and charge toward the fallen angel. Lying on the ground and wounded, Mengfan can only curse her own helplessness. But Hansu steps in, slicing through the minions and telling them to get out of the way. Hansu stands over the fallen angel, coolly asking if she's finally ready to listen, while his new Demon Lord fan club goes absolutely wild, cheering for their invincible brother. Mengfan's backup can only watch in shock, unable to believe their strongest fighter was defeated so easily. Our boy tries to de-escalate, telling her he has no ill intentions and just wanted to talk. But she's not having it, accusing him of taking out her allies and vowing to make him pay. Hansu is genuinely confused, having absolutely no idea what she's talking about, and he tries to explain that this is all just a massive misunderstanding. right before the demon lord steps in, accusing her of killing all of his slaves. He promises to make sure the intruder never leaves, completely torpedoing Hansu's attempt at diplomacy. A system window pops up, confirming he's cleared the floor but also triggered hard mode by angering the final boss. This ground immediately starts to erupt with power, signaling things are about to get much worse. Mengfan suddenly yells for him to watch out as Hansu grabs her to pull her to safety. A massive pillar of fire erupts from the exact spot where she was just lying. A very close call. She's completely stunned, demanding to know why her enemy just saved her life. Hansu finally reveals his true plan. He needs her alive to get him to the angel camp. As the entire area collapses around them, the demon lord tells Hansu to go on ahead without him. With the ceiling caving in, Hansu carries Mengfan through the chaos, dodging falling rocks and fire. Her allies are screaming from the exit that it's about to close for good, so Hansu focuses his energy, preparing to make a final dash for it. He throws her onto his back, telling her she's too slow as they race toward the portal. Hansu makes a mad dash through the collapsing cavern, carrying Mengfan as they dodge falling rocks, their only hope being the glowing exit portal at the far end of the tunnel. She suddenly screams for him to watch out from above, as a massive boulder smashes down, narrowly missing them by inches. Her allies are completely cut off on the other side, realizing they're too late to help. Now that they're trapped, Hansu calmly suggests they team up to defeat the secret boss and escape. Mengfan immediately shuts him down, refusing to ever join forces with a demon. At that exact moment, his demon lord fanboy and the minions finally catch up, calling him brother. This demon lord is absolutely furious, screaming that he's going to kill all the angels. Mengfan is stunned, finally putting 2 and 2 together about who the real enemy is. It turns out the true final boss of this realm is a massive, 4-armed demon king from the deepest layer. This guy has already wiped the floor with several other high-level players. One of the defeated adventurers is shown crying out for anyone on the first layer to come save them. But the Demon King only has eyes for Hansu, promising he's next for killing his slaves. Hansu just smirks, deciding that if he's stuck, he might as well take out both sides and get all the rewards. A system window pops up, announcing the difficulty has been increased and monster levels are rising, followed by another message confirming that a full-on resurrection has begun. This system officially tells all players to prepare for battle, trapping Hansu, Mengfan, and the Demon Lord together. All the rock monsters they defeated before start to reanimate, just as confused as everyone else. This demon lord charges into the fray, telling Mengfan he doesn't take orders from an angel. Mengfan decides to join the fight, charging up a storm feather sword attack of her own, unleashing a massive volley of energy projectiles onto the reanimated monsters below, who just roar back, completely unfazed by the assault. She realizes her allies are in deep trouble if even the grunts are this tough, while the demon lord jumps back into the fray, promising to put these things down for good. Hansu, on the other hand, just finds this whole resurrection event pretty funny, deciding it's the perfect time to test out his new system rewards. He activates Flame Massacre, a skill that grants him a 100% critical damage bonus, which is a hidden achievement reward that gives him a special prop called Flame Butcher. Our boy is loving these hidden system props, figuring he might as well stay and get all the best gear. Elsewhere, the Demon Lord complains that Hansu is too strong, wondering if he even used his full power, right before one of his minions reports that all their guards were wiped out by the angels. This news sends the Demon Lord into a rage, finally realizing who's responsible, and he turns on Mengfan, accusing her of taking out his trusted underlings. He's absolutely furious, screaming that he's going to end her right here and now. But Hansu steps in, telling him now is not the time for revenge. His demon fanboy is completely baffled, asking why he'd protect the angel who just killed his men. And Hansu knows he can't reveal his real plan without causing a scene. So he pulls Mengfan close and blurts out the most galaxy brain excuse he can think of. Because I like her. This demon lord and his entire crew are just left completely speechless by this development. To sell the lie, Hansu starts listing off her entire life story, from her village to her favorite food. His demon fanboy is completely convinced, concluding his brother must be madly in love to know so much. Mengfan is not impressed in the slightest, struggling to break free from his grip, and she's certain he has some kind of ulterior motive for knowing all her personal details. Hansu tries to broker a truce, asking if they can please put their grudges aside to fight the monsters. Mengfan reluctantly agrees, deciding she can just use him to save her people and deal with him later. This demon lord is also on board, figuring it's better to have an OP ally than an enemy for now. With their very fragile alliance formed, Hansu tells them to follow him so they can fight their way out. Internally, our boy is just glad he fooled them both, planning to grab the secret reward and bounce. Their path forward takes them to the second layer of the dungeon, a massive volcanic cavern. This new trio takes a moment to absorb the sheer scale of the dangerous new area. Mengfan quickly spots the exit portal, located at the very peak of the fiery mountain. Thinking she can just fly up, she takes off, but Hansu immediately yells for her to wait, because a system restriction suddenly kicks in, declaring the entire area a no-fly zone. She's immediately zapped by some kind of anti-air trap, sending her plummeting back to the ground. Hansu shouts her name as she comes crashing down from the sky. He rushes to her side to check if she's okay, and she insists she's fine despite the nasty fall. Hansu then points to a monster scaling the cliff face, realizing they'll have to climb their way up. He suddenly looks up and yells for his demon fanboy to stop moving, sensing danger. This demon lord yells back that it's just as dangerous up there, confirming their path is blocked. Out of nowhere, a massive pillar of fire slams down right where they're standing, and the demon lord's fanboy gets absolutely cooked, screaming about how much the magma hurts. Hansu immediately realizes something is wrong, since the environmental damage shouldn't be this powerful. A system window confirms his suspicion, announcing that all damage on this layer has been doubled thanks to the difficulty spike. Seeing his new allies are basically useless, Hansu tells them to stay put while he handles the climb himself. He activates a skill to see the original safe route up the mountain, confident he knows the developer's intended path. Turns out, this layer is just a climbing puzzle with no monsters, so all they have to do is follow the designated trail. He takes his first step onto what should be a safe platform and begins his ascent up the fiery cliff face, only to get a very nasty surprise when he realizes the safe zone isn't so safe anymore. A massive geyser of fire erupts directly underneath him, sending our boy flying back down with a scream. He comes crashing back to the starting point, much to the shock of his two companions. Hansu is completely baffled since he was positive he was on the correct path. This system then chimes in with a perfectly timed update. The safe route has been randomly reset. He can only sigh, realizing the game is officially just making things up as it goes now. His demon fanboy wonders if Hansu will even be able to continue after taking a direct hit like that, but Mengfan correctly guesses he's now trying to find the new safe route by testing each step. Hansu gets back to it, still's annoyed at how ridiculously hard this simple climb has become. This other two can only watch as he carefully begins hopping up the volcano, one precarious step at a time. But instead of finding a new path, Hansu just reaches for the exact same spot that just blew up, which makes his demon fanboy freak out, warning him that's where the attack came from, and Mengfan can't believe he's willingly walking right into a dead end. He grabs onto the glowing rock anyway, and immediately gets blasted by another massive pillar of fire, just as they expected. This explosion slams him right back down to the ground between his two stunned companions, but our boy just gets back up, completely unfazed, and decides to go again. He runs right back to the cliff and grabs another glowing rock, getting hit by yet another fiery explosion, and he just keeps doing it over and over, tanking every single hit the volcano throws at him. This demon lord is so confused he actually asks Mengfan if Hansu has some kind of problem, but she correctly guesses that he must have known something they didn't. After taking a ton of damage, his hand is looking pretty rough. Right before a system window pops up, announcing he's unlocked a hidden achievement for withstanding 10 eruptions, which was his plan all along, as he now has a permanent 200-point fire resistance buff. With his new resistance active, Hansu just smirks, ready to actually start climbing. He tells the other two that planning is over, and he's just going to take them through himself, leading the way up the cliff face while warning them to change their route if a trap goes off. His two followers are still baffled, realizing he's now triggering the attacks on purpose. But Hansu just grins, telling them not to worry because he's got a plan, flashing his new aura skill. With his new fire resistance active, Hansu powers up his aura, ready for the real climb, launching himself straight up the cliff face as his two companions watch in disbelief. He just smirks through the flames, casually calling the deadly magma a nice warm shower. Mengfan and the demon lord are completely stunned, realizing he's just ignoring the pain entirely. Having reached the top, Hansu declares the traps useless and tells them it's time for the third layer. Down on that very layer, the four-armed demon king is already waiting for a fight. Turns out he's been busy wiping the floor with another party of high-level adventurers, whose leader is barely holding on as his team gets completely overwhelmed. He tells his crew to just survive until the strong angel who killed the slaves arrives to help them. This demon king just laughs, correcting them that it was actually another demon who took out his men. This news sends the adventurers into a panic, realizing they're about to be caught in a crossfire. But their leader doesn't care who shows up as long as he has a convenient scapegoat. Right on cue, Hansu and his very confused entourage arrive at the boss room's entrance. He dramatically pushes open the massive doors while his two followers just stand back and watch. Peering inside at the chaos, Hansu sarcastically wonders who he should bother saving first. He then activates a skill, sending a beam of light straight toward the adventurer party, which manifests as a glowing feather on his forehead, the feather of mislead. This handy little skill transfers all his aggro onto a new target for 10 seconds. This demon king immediately stops, turning his full attention to the adventurers and accusing them of killing his slaves. He then winds up for a massive attack, ready to obliterate his new conveniently provided targets. This demon king takes the bait perfectly, roaring as he charges straight for the adventurers, bringing his massive flaming sword down on the party leader, who finally realizes he's been completely played by Hansu's aggro-swapping trick. His entire team scrambles to throw up a barrier, barely managing to block the devastating blow. One of the adventurers then has the nerve to yell at Hansu's crew for not helping them out, while their leader recognizes Mengfan but just scoffs at his team for thinking she'd actually save them. He then orders his own people to run for the exit, which of course leads them right to Hansu's group. This leader just smirks, telling our crew to die in his place so he can make a clean getaway, and immediately casts a massive ice spell, sealing the entire doorway shut. Hansu's demon fanboy is absolutely livid, realizing they've just been trapped inside with the boss. On the other side, the adventurer's minion is confused, but the leader explains they can't escape until the monster is dead anyway. His brilliant plan is to let Mengfan and the demons weaken the boss so he can swoop in for the kill. With the exit completely frozen over, our crew is officially stuck in the boss room. This demon fanboy is barely holding back the boss's onslaught, screaming for Mengfan to break the seal. But she explains it's a special angel technique that won't break unless the caster is dealt with. This demon king just laughs, easily overpowering his fanboy while taunting the trapped intruders. Getting absolutely crushed, the demon fanboy curses the angels for being selfish hypocrites who betray their own. Hearing this, Mengfan finally decides to step in, unleashing her glowing angel wings. She feels responsible for this mess, admitting she doesn't get why another angel would pull a stunt like this. But since she got them into this, she declares it's her job to get them out, flying straight at the boss. Mangfan unleashes her ultimate attack, slaying Judgment, putting all her power into a single strike. But her attack only enrages the Demon King, who tanks the hit while the fanboy is still down. And the sheer force of her own move sends her flying backward, crashing hard onto the floor. Turns out she just activated a sacrificial skill that burns her wings for a power-up, and it's a one-way trip. Hansu immediately tells her to stop, but she insists it's their only chance of survival against this monster. Our boy calmly explains he knows the boss's weakness, much to his fanboy's continued amazement. He drops some lore, revealing these monsters were originally created to guard powerful divine artifacts. Meanwhile, a system window warns them the boss is regenerating and has 15 seconds until its second phase. So, Hansu points out the monster's weakness is the very artifact it's guarding, the massive furnace right behind it. This revelation completely blows the demon fanboy's mind, who is now 100% sold on his brother's genius. Internally, Hansu just smirks, thinking of course he knows all this since he's the one who wrote it. Their little strategy session is cut short by the Demon King, who is absolutely furious they managed to hurt him. He immediately unleashes a new attack, summoning a storm of massive fireballs, and as the fire rains down, the system confirms the boss has officially entered its second stage. Hansu tells his fanboy to clear a path, declaring he's going to handle the furnace himself. He reminds them his new fire-resistant skill means he can just walk right through the lava. With a new plan in place, Mungfan and the Demon Lord agree to run interference for him. Hansu points the way, ordering them to push forward as a team. But the Demon King isn't just going to let them walk up, summoning a whole army of minions to block their path. Mungfan takes the lead, flying ahead to carve a path through the monster horde for the others. Mingfan unleashes a massive angel sword attack, carving a path through the minions for the others, and with the way clear, Hansu and his fanboy make a mad dash toward the furnace. This Demon King isn't having it though, locking onto Hansu for a death from above strike, but the fanboy heroically intercepts the blow, telling his brother to keep going. He even pops his demonization skill, powering up to hold the boss back, leaving Hansu to trust him with the distraction while he heads for the objective. He finally reaches the edge of the massive furnace, stepping onto the superheated rock, and with his fire resistance aura active, he just leaps straight into the lava. This entire furnace erupts in a massive pillar of fire the moment he lands inside, leaving his two companions to stare in absolute awe, realizing he actually survived. Deep within the inferno, Hansu reaches for the glowing blue artifact known as the Ice Heart. This makes the Demon King completely lose his mind, screaming for Hansu to come out and fight, but it's already too late. Our boy gets his hands on the prize and immediately crushes the Ice Heart in his fist. This Demon King starts scrambling up the furnace wall, laughing that they can't escape him. But Hansu just touches the furnace, instantly flash freezing the boss and debuffing its resistances. He just smirks, holding the artifact's glowing core, mission accomplished. But out of nowhere, that scumbag angel leader shows up and uses a skill to snatch the artifact from his hand. This guy, Bai Chong, actually thanks Hansu for doing all the work before announcing he's taking the treasure. Mengfan is absolutely livid, but Bai Chong just preaches about angel justice while calling them a bunch of villains. Hansu's fanboy is completely done with the monologuing, screaming for them to just fight, and Mungfan charges forward demanding the artifact back, ready to throw down. But Bai Chong just channels the power of the Ice Heart, unleashing a wave of freezing energy, smugly reminding them that he's the one holding the divine item now. This icy power starts to creep over Mungfan and the Demon Lord, freezing them in place, while Bai Chong laughs, declaring himself the strongest of the Angel clan with this new treasure. But Hansu finally chimes in, casually asking who gave him permission to take it, and the scumbag Angel finally recognizes him as the outsider from before. Hansu sighs that he originally wanted to join the Angels, but now sees they're just backstabbing cowards, which just makes Bai Chong threaten to turn him into an ice sculpture just like the boss. Our boy just smirks, clarifying his blade isn't for him, but for something else entirely, before he leaps right onto the back of the still-frozen Demon King. He one-shots the debuffed boss with a single fiery slash, getting the kill notification instantly. This leaves Bai Chong absolutely speechless, unable to believe the boss went down in one hit, and Hansu gets a massive loot drop for the first kill, including a new pet and a full magma armor set. This angel leader completely loses it, accusing Hansu of stealing his prey and unleashing a massive ice storm. But Hansu just calmly activates his brand new magma armor, ready to counter the attack. He effortlessly tanks the ice blast with his new fiery gear, this powerful magic completely evaporating against his armor's overwhelming heat. Hansu just stands there, fully decked out in his legendary new set, complete with awesome set bonuses. A man in armor rallies his allies to attack an opponent over a secret treasure. This opponent reveals they can also summon assistants. A sword is used to activate a large summoning circle on the ground. A massive fiery creature called the Magma Lord is summoned. A system window details the Magma Lord's abilities as a magical pet. This Magma Lord attacks, and the armored man creates a defensive barrier. This summoner casts a flame shield ability on the Magma Lord. This flame shield penetrates the barrier, causing distress to those inside. This armored man decides to use a powerful ice item to end the fight. Before he can act, he is immobilized by a controlled dispelling spell. This summoner takes the ice item from the immobilized man. This ice item is unsealed, releasing two people who were trapped inside. One of the freed individuals announces his intention to join the fight. He moves to attack the immobilized armored man. A white-haired woman intervenes and blocks the attack. This attacker questions why she is defending the armored man. She explains that the situation has changed and their elder is guarding the realm's entrance. She warns that defeating these people will lead to a larger conflict. This attacker agrees to spare them but sets 2 conditions, releasing the man. This white-haired woman asks what his conditions are. This demon fanboy considers her point, deciding it's probably not worth getting the entire angel clan on his back, so he lays out his first condition. Bai Chong must be handed over to the angels for proper judgment. With a smug grin, he holds up 2 fingers for his second, much more personal demand, pointing straight at Meng Fan and declaring she has to become his. This completely short-circuits her brain, leaving the poor girl blushing and dizzy from the sheer audacity. Meanwhile, back at the realm's entrance, the Angel Clan's elder is giving orders to his troops guarding the portal. He commands them to take down any demons or monsters that emerge from the gate on sight, no questions asked. His soldiers look ready for a fight, but their resolve is about to be tested by an unexpected arrival, because a powerful-looking demoness casually floats out of the portal on her throne, looking bored. She gives the Angel Elder a smug look, clearly unimpressed by his little welcoming party. Her entourage follows right behind her, creating an immediate standoff with the Angel forces. This demoness, Sios, taunts the Angels, basically saying they aren't even worthy of her attention. Her presence is so overwhelming that some of the Angel guards are instantly charmed, falling to their knees. It gets even worse when 2 of them start fighting over who gets to praise her, completely losing their minds. This Angel Elder is absolutely livid at this display, powering up a holy spell to snap them out of it. He unleashes a divine persuasion dispel, a skill that forcibly breaks mind control effects on his own men. Sios just finds this hilarious, teasing the Elder for being so rough with his own soldiers. He ignores her, ordering his troops to steal their minds and prepare a purification attack. This angels combine their power, summoning a massive holy book for a large-scale technique called Holy Light Baptism. This book then unleashes a gigantic beam of holy energy, aimed to wipe out the demoness and her crew. Sios gets blasted by the massive holy light beam, her health bar taking a serious hit. But she just smirks through it, sarcastically impressed the angels brought out a divine artifact just for her. This elder screams that this power was meant for a demon who wiped out their allies, so she should feel honored. It's a total standoff as the 2 leaders glare each other down, neither one backing off. Until a completely new attack, the Heart of Ice, suddenly erupts from out of nowhere, and it completely freezes the angel's holy light beam solid, stopping the attack in its tracks. Turns out, Hansu and his crew have arrived just in time, with our boy wielding the artifact's core. This Angel Elder and his troops can only stare in disbelief as their sacred book is now a giant ice cube. Hansu immediately checks on Sios, who just complains about how bad the angel smells. He agrees, calling them a bunch of winged groundhogs with total contempt, noting that if he'd been any later, she might have actually been in trouble from the hypocritical NPCs. He then unleashes the Heart of Ice's power, instantly flash-freezing the angel soldiers below. This sudden escalation makes Meng Fan panic, realizing this is going way too far, and she grabs his arm, begging him to stop before he starts an all-out war between the clans. Hansu just turns to her with a glowing contract, offering to spare them if she signs it and becomes his. This system window reveals it's a golden contract that gives insane team and dungeon reward boosts. Seeing her elder about to be defeated, Meng Fan decides saving her people is the priority and agrees to the deal. This moment she signs, the ice shatters, freeing the angel forces from Hansu's spell. But the elder isn't grateful, marching right up to Hansu and vowing to take his head for the humiliation. Our boy just ignores him, telling his new teammate Meng Fan to hurry up and get in formation. With the angels unfrozen, the elder is about to throw down, but a dark portal suddenly rips open nearby. That scumbag Bai Chong immediately crawls to the elder, begging him not to believe Meng Fan's lies. He tries to save his own skin by accusing her of betraying the clan and siding with the demons, but Meng Fan fires back, calling him the real traitor who got their own people wiped out in the dungeon. Sios casually invites Meng Fan to just join their side, but she insists she was only ever loyal to the angels. She then turns to Bai Chong, ready to deliver some personal judgment for his crimes, but the demon fanboy steps in, telling her to stand down and let them handle this. Hansu explains that since Meng Fan helped them, they're in her debt, and the angels can deal with their own trash. This just makes the elder even more furious, and he starts charging up a massive lightning attack to wipe them all out. But out of absolutely nowhere, a gigantic pillar of digital light crashes down from the sky, interrupting everything. This pillar forms into a massive glowing structure that Hansu recognizes as the legendary World Tree. This scene suddenly cuts to the real world, where system messages are running diagnostics on a life signal. Turns out a team of scientists is monitoring someone hooked up to a bunch of advanced equipment, and that someone is none other than Hansu's real-world body, lying completely unconscious. He's totally out of it, connected to whatever machine is running this entire game world. A system window pops up, announcing that because the player is unconscious, a game update is commencing. An info dump explains the World Tree is the game's central server, storing all player data and skills. But the system also notes that based on the current game progression, it's way too early for it to appear. Back in the game, the tree starts absorbing energy, sucking the nearby angel soldiers into its light. One of the angels gets his data completely drained, his body dissolving into pure energy. This angel soldiers start getting deleted by the world tree, screaming as their data is absorbed. And even that scumbag Bai Chong gets caught in the pull, desperately trying to fight his way out. until Mingfan surprisingly steps in to save his worthless hide, pulling him free from the light. This angel elder screams at them to stop what they're doing, realizing their immediate priority is to summon the clan's sword saint to handle this mess. Hansu and the demon fanboy are just confused, wondering why the game's central database is even here, while Sayos decides this is way above her pay grade and prepares to call for some backup of her own. She starts a full-on summoning ritual, knowing that facing a divine object like this is a one-way ticket to oblivion, and at the same time the Angel Elder opens a holy portal right next to her Dark One. From the light emerges the Angel Clan's legendary sword saint, a guy named Ryan, and from the darkness comes the demon's secret weapon, the Shadow Scholar, Glos. Hansu's system guide pops up explaining the world tree is a link to the outside world and his only chance to log out. But Gloss is already casting a massive barrier to seal the tree off and sever that connection. Realizing his window is closing, Hansu tells his crew they have to touch the tree before that barrier goes up. But the two new arrivals immediately cast a debuff field to slow everyone down. This Shadow Scholar just looks down on them, basically daring them to try and get themselves killed. So Hansu thanks him for the permission and makes a break for it with Mengfen and the fanboy in tow. This sword saint isn't nearly as accommodating, unleashing a massive holy energy blast to stop them cold. Though a system window reveals he's just a 10-minute doppelganger made of pure energy. With the attack incoming, Hansu turns to Mengfan, telling her he knows she's got a trick up her sleeve for this. With an apology to her master, Mengfan powers up a dark energy slash, ready to betray the sword saint, and she dives straight at the energy clone, unleashing her attack to create a diversion. But the sword saint just casually forms a vortex shield, completely shutting down her best shot, which is all the opening Hansu needs, yelling for his crew to make a run for the tree, and they successfully slip past the powerful NPCs, stepping into the world tree's digital core. Inside, the fanboy almost touches a data stream before Mengfan quickly warns him to back off, as Hansu's guide urges him to make contact, hoping he can finally signal the real world that he's trapped. He reaches out and touches the central light, pouring his will into establishing a connection, which yanks his consciousness straight into the game's data center, where he screams at the oblivious scientists. He furiously demands to know what's going on, but a system window just announces a server restart in 10 seconds. At the same time, the system detects him as an unknown life-form intrusion, basically a bug to be purged. And the game upgrade immediately prioritizes handling him as the countdown continues, until a final message confirms the unknown bug has been cleared, leaving Hansu absolutely stunned. He's thrown back into the game world, which is now glitching out with red data squares as the timer hits 0, and the world tree itself completely dissolves into a shower of digital light. A final system message announces the end of the closed beta and the start of a new version iteration. Back in the real world, a man named President Wong is told the server restart might leave Hansu comatose forever, and he looks down at our boy's body, telling his friend to just sleep peacefully, before revealing his true colors with a nasty grin, promising to distribute all of Hansu's assets for him. An employee then tells him the investors need the server live now, and the president walks away, leaving Hansu to his fate. President Wang coldly orders his team to reset all beta tester data and just keep the project moving. Back in the game, a system-wide reset countdown begins, with Hansu's crew caught right in the middle of it. And as the timer hits 0, Hansu is violently thrown into the air while his teammates watch in horror. This entire party is sent tumbling through a glitching digital void as the world itself gets overwritten, with Hansu managing to land on some newly formed ground in a completely different space. He looks up to see Meng Fan and the fanboy frozen in time, the data overwrite now officially complete. Our boy is absolutely livid, realizing the company knew he was trapped and restarted the server anyway, so he makes a desperate dash towards a bright light, trying to find any kind of exit from this mess. But his punch is blocked by an invisible wall, with a system error screaming he doesn't have the required access level. His cat guide pops up to tell him to chill out, explaining the world tree is now locked behind a max level requirement. This guide speculates he might get access again by leveling up, also confirming the update wiped all beta tester progress. A system window reveals a massive change. Hansu and the Sword Saint are now LV90, but his party members are only LV10. As the data freeze lifts, the newly powered-up NPCs are the first to get back into the action, and the Sword Saint immediately unleashes a LV90 Moonblade attack to test out his new strength. Though the Shadow Scholar isn't impressed, throwing up a magical shield to counter the massive energy slash. Their attacks collide in a huge explosion, showing just how much the power scaling has jumped since the update. These two powerful NPCs acknowledge their sudden power-up, realizing the world tree just unlocked their true potential. Meanwhile, Hansu's crew is getting absolutely crushed by the sheer pressure radiating from the high-level fight. Hansu quickly figures out it's not just that the NPCs got stronger, it's that his own team got weaker. A quick check confirms his fears, as his guide explains his teammates were downgraded to LV10 for touching him during the reset. Hansu reflects on the bitter irony that his real-world friend tried to kill him, while these NPCs are fighting to save him. He snaps back to the present, realizing he needs to figure out what just happened with that server reset. A quick inventory check shows all his important items are still there, along with a new mystery item. This new drop is an orange-grade piece of equipment, even rarer than the Heart of Ice, and it's soulbound. It's called the Radiant Octagonal Die, but unfortunately it's locked until he reaches level 13. This cat guide explains the reset only affected player levels, not beta items, so he got to keep his unique gear. Meanwhile, Baichong decides this is the perfect time to sneak up on Mengfan and take her out to cover his tracks. He unleashes a LV-25 Sacred Blade Slice, aiming to finish her off with a cheap shot from behind. Meng Fan just barely manages to turn and block the surprise attack with her own blade, but she still takes a hit, clutching her arm and demanding to know what he's doing. He just gives her a smug look, confirming her injury was his goal all along. Deciding to go out with a bang, Bai Chong starts charging up a massive self-destruct skill to take everyone with him. Hansu immediately tells his crew to grab onto him so he can get them clear of the blast zone. He activates Vanishing Act, a Lev V10 priest skill that's supposed to make them invisible and create distance. But thanks to a system bug, the skill does the exact opposite, teleporting them right on top of Bai Chong instead. This sudden pressure from the colliding auras is so intense that Mengfan and the fanboy can barely breathe. Bai Chong is just completely stunned by their reappearance, calling Hansu a monster for pulling it off. Surrounded by a menacing dark aura, Hansu coldly warns the traitor not to push his limits. This system guide explains the bugged skill caused a massive energy collision, instantly knocking Bai Chong out cold. Hansu realizes his escape plan backfired spectacularly, leaving an Angel Clan member defeated right in front of the Sword Saint. This Sword Saint vows to punish Hansu, while the Shadow Scholar sees him as a fascinating new test subject. And Hansu tries explaining that Bai Chong attacked first, but the Angel Elder is having none of it. Realizing he's not getting through to them, our boy just looks completely done with this whole situation. So the Sword Saint ignores the plea, preparing a massive Holy Light attack to judge the evil before him. He unleashes Angel Judgment, a LV90 skill designed to extract memories and punish the guilty on the spot. But in a wild counter, Hansu activates his own LED V90 skill, attempting a demon summoning to protect his crew. This skill hilariously fails to summon the demon fanboy, who's just standing right next to him anyway. And it turns out the summoning failed because the fanboy is an ultra-high-level demon, which is news to everyone. Meanwhile, the Sword Saint is completely stunned that his ultimate judgment ability is somehow being blocked, causing the skill to default to Bai Chong instead, revealing all his treacherous memories for everyone to see. While Hansu and Mengfan get knocked back, the fanboy is just thrilled that his big brother is alright, and a system window confirms Bai Chong was punished, with all of his EXP getting transferred directly to Hansu. This sudden influx of power is way too much, causing our boy to double over in agonizing pain. And he realizes there's only one way to handle this massive energy overload before it tears him apart. This Angel Elder completely misreads the room, thinking Hansu is about to retaliate and ordering his men back. While even the Sword Saint tries to calm things down, admitting they might have made a slight misunderstanding. But Hansu, barely in control, just tells the legendary warrior to get out of his way, as he's out of time. He unleashes a massive area of effect skill, sharing his overwhelming power with everyone in the vicinity, and the angel soldiers are baffled, as getting hit by this attack actually feels great and makes them stronger. They wonder how they can absorb a demon's magic, while another asks why he's even helping them at all. This Sword Saint and the Angel Elder suddenly realize Hansu might be a legendary angel who went undercover a century ago. And it turns out they're right, as Hansu gets control of his new power and is revealed to be Archangel Michael. This causes the entire Angel clan to immediately kneel and apologize, leaving our boy completely baffled by the sudden respect. Meanwhile, the Shadow Scholar Gloss finds this whole turn of events incredibly interesting, especially since his summoning failed on the fanboy, and now the angels are worshipping a supposed demon. Deciding he needs answers, Gloss teleports over to grab Hansu, but the Sword Saint quickly tells him to back off. Gloss just casts a shadow trap as a diversion, teleporting the other angels away for a moment, which gives him the perfect opening to wrap Hansu in a shadow restraint, completely suppressing his magic. This demon fanboy is absolutely livid, demanding to know what Gloss is doing to his big brother. Gloss couldn't care less, casually flicking the kid away for meddling in his business. He then confirms he's taking Hansu back for some good old-fashioned research, much to our boy's horror. Hansu remembers that he himself designed Gloss's research methods to be absolutely brutal, so he needs a new plan fast. Knowing Gloss is a slave to his own curiosity, Hansu starts thinking of a way to distract him. He offers a deal, let him go, and in return, he'll share the ultimate secret of the World Tree. This bait works perfectly, as the mention of the World Tree immediately gets the scholar's full attention. Gloss demands proof, wanting to know why he should believe Hansu has access to that kind of information. Hansu explains he saw the birth of both clans and a divine object within the tree, dangling the mystery right in front of him. Completely hooked, Gloss tells him to hurry up and show him this supposed divine object. So Hansu reveals his new soulbound item, the radiant octagonal die, which glows with immense power. He then unleashes its energy in a massive flash of light, leaving the Shadow Scholar completely stunned. This die's ability is revealed. It can randomly replicate any opponent's skill for 5 minutes of unlimited use. A system window confirms the replication was successful, somehow locking onto the demon fanboy. In a wild turn, Hansu uses the copied skill to restrain Gloss with the fanboy's own tentacle magic. But the tables flip instantly as the fanboy himself gets wrapped in Gloss's shadow restraint, now enhanced by the die's power. With the distraction successful, Gloss grabs the captured fanboy, smugly telling him he's coming along for some research. Meanwhile, back at the Demon Clan's headquarters, the top lords are wondering where Gloss has gotten to. One of the demonesses senses the disturbance, realizing something huge just went down at the World Tree. It turns out all the demon lords were also instantly power leveled to 90 by the server-wide update. A demon with a monocle volunteers to investigate, warning them that a new world is set to arrive tomorrow. He explains that hordes of outsiders are about to pour into their territory, signaling the game's official launch. Right on cue, Gloss teleports in with the captured fanboy, agreeing that this invasion is both a crisis and an opportunity. He reveals that the arrival of these players will uncover hidden realms all across the continent. And it's a race to the finish, as whoever gets to those realms first will claim all the legendary loot inside. This monocle demon, who is actually the fanboy's older brother, asks Gloss what he found at the World Tree. This fanboy quickly explains that the tree vanished right before Gloss appeared out of nowhere and grabbed him. His brother doesn't seem to trust the story, giving the Shadow Scholar a very suspicious glare. He suddenly snaps, unleashing his own demonic power as his patience runs out. This brother accuses Gloss of being an outsider trying to manipulate their clan, demanding to know his real plan. Gloss pulls a massive bluff, holding up Hansu's die and claiming to be a messenger from the long-lost king, Lucifer. This other demons are not buying it for a second, pointing out that a Lev V13 punk shouldn't be lying to a mind reader. This demoness eggs on the fanboy's brother, who is clearly not buying Gloss's story for a second. He unleashes a wave of pressure, mocking Gloss for pretending to be a messenger from the old king. This brother then stomps on Gloss's hand, trying to crush the die while calling him trash. But the scholar just glares back, completely unfazed by the blatant disrespect. In a flash, Gloss counters with a powerful berserker brawl attack, throwing a golden slash right at him, which the brother dodges effortlessly, looking like he's just warming up. Realizing he needs more firepower, Gloss instantly equips a full set of magma armor. Now fully geared up, he confidently holds up the die and declares he'll finish this fight in 5 minutes. Turns out that's because the die's skill replication only lasts for 5 minutes before a full 24-hour cooldown. This brother decides he's done playing games, summoning dark magic to end this now. He unleashes a shadow restraint attack, wrapping the armored Gloss in dark energy bindings. But Gloss just shatters the restraints with a single punt, much to everyone's surprise. This monocle demon is completely stunned, realizing Gloss somehow used the exact same skill he did. Not one to be outdone, he decides to pull out an even bigger move to settle this. He activates Eye of the Curse, attempting to pull Gloss into his own personal domain. Gloss just smirks, recognizing the tactic and saying it won't be that easy. And that's because the die has already worked its magic, successfully replicating the Eye of the Curse for his own use. This other demon lords finally understand the die's true power. It can copy any skill, even a domain. Seeing such a broken item, they all decide it's finders keepers, and they're about to be the finders. With that, all 3 demon lords abandon their squabble and charge straight at Gloss to claim the prize. This monocle demon is the first to lunge, unleashing a fiery slash while demanding the die, followed closely by the blindfolded demoness, who throws up a barrier to stake her own claim. And finally, the red-horned demon joins the fray, declaring the prize is his and his alone. Gloss realizes he's in a seriously bad spot, especially since one of them can go invisible in his own domain. So he uses the die's power one last time, successfully replicating the signature skills of all 3 attackers. He gets ready to turn their own powers right back on them for a little taste of their own medicine. But in a moment of terrible timing, the die's 5-minute bonus ends, triggering a full 24-hour cooldown. With the artifact now useless, the monocle demon instantly grabs Gloss by the throat, ready to end him. While being choked out, Gloss manages to utter a string of ancient names, ending with Lucifer. This incantation summons a massive pillar of purple energy, and the demoness is shocked he knew the true name to summon their leader. A powerful new demoness, Lilith, appears from the light and gently lifts Gloss's chin. She's completely bought his act, asking the messenger what kind of reward he wants for his service. Hansu, now in the driver's seat, realizes this is the perfect cover to gain power and find a way out of the game. A system announcement reveals the first wave of the player invasion will begin in 20 hours at an old demon altar. Taking charge, Hansu tells the new demon queen they need to start preparing for the coming battle immediately. Lilith turns to her bickering lords, asking for a solid strategy to deal with the incoming outsiders. This monocle demon suggests they form a single elite resistance force to ambush the players all at once. But the other 2 lords immediately see the problem. Whoever leads that force gets first dibs on all the loot. They both shoot the idea down, arguing it's better if everyone leads their own troops and gets rewarded based on merit. Hansu is already thinking 5 steps ahead, knowing his real-world enemy will send players to hunt him, and this demon disguise is his only way to survive. Hansu's plan is simple: convince Lilith to make him an NPC commander so he can survive the coming player hunt. Meanwhile, the other demon lords are practically wrestling each other for the chance to lead the army. This rest of the court is just completely over this meeting, calling the bickering lords a bunch of brutes. Finally fed up, Lilith cuts through the noise, asking if they've had enough fun yet. She opens a massive demonic portal right above their heads to get their attention, summoning a monstrous 3-headed beast that Hansu recognizes as a perfect copy of Lucifer's own familiar. This beast immediately starts rampaging, grabbing one of the lords, who starts screaming for his life. Even the monocle demon is forced back, warning everyone to stay away from the out-of-control summon. A quick flashback reveals a photo of a boy with his beloved dog, which apparently died in the real world. And it turns out Hansu literally designed this in-game monster to be a perfect replica of his old pet. Back in the present, the beast is still causing chaos, now with the demoness in its grasp. But Hansu just walks right up to the monster's snapping jaws and calmly tells it to sit. He calls the creature by its name, Ares, with a knowing little smirk, and the terrifying hellhound immediately sits down like a well-behaved puppy. In a complete tonal shift, Hansu is now happily petting the giant monster, which has turned into an adorable chibi. This other lords can only stare in disbelief, wondering how he managed to tame the untamable beast. Seizing the opportunity, Hansu offers to help Lilith tame her other unruly subordinates as well. His power play works perfectly, and Lilith officially names him commander of the Resistance Army, giving him a dual NPC identity. But she gets real close, warning him that if this player invasion doesn't happen, she'll know his whole story was a lie. She then promises to personally end him if he fails, but Hansu just coolly promises he won't let her down. Hansu and the monocle demon arrive at the designated altar, with the demon wondering why the invasion hasn't started yet. Right on cue, a massive purple vortex rips open the sky, marking the official entrance for the players. Our boy explains this is the beginner village, where all the level 1 outsiders will spawn before they can challenge the demon clan. This monocle demon gets the picture. Their job is to crush these newbies before they can even get started. He's ready to charge right in, but Hansu tells him to hold up and wait for the rest of their army. Before they can argue, the portal sucks them both inside anyway, which is when the demon realizes the elite resistance force is literally just the two of them. Turns out the other demon lords completely bailed, hoping to see their new human commander fail spectacularly. This is a huge problem for the monocle demon, who's been getting bullied by low-level grunts ever since his own level dropped. But Hansu just pats him on the back, promising to power level him back to 90 if he sticks with the plan. With that, they finally land inside the new player zone, and they're not alone, as hordes of players pour in from all directions, ready to explore. Meanwhile, Lilith and her court watch from afar, with one lord admitting Hansu might have been telling the truth after all. Lilith, however, still isn't convinced that Lucifer would ever trust a human with this kind of mission. At the same time, the Sword Saint from the Angel Clan senses the demonic energy, realizing Hansu is at the center of it. Back in the beginner zone, our duo arrives in a place called Dark City, ready to kick things off. They're immediately greeted by a swarm of low-level players and mobs, much to Hansu's annoyance. This monocle demon doesn't waste any time, one-shotting a random spider bot to test the waters. His reward for this is a single common-grade woodcutting knife, and he is absolutely disgusted by the trash-tier loot. Suddenly, a mysterious man in a white coat appears. Looking down on the knife he apparently just dropped. This new guy in the white coat is already complaining about the game's trash loot drops, and he immediately spots the monocle demon, whose level 10 tag is a giant kill me for XP sign. This player absolutely loses it, thinking he's found a rare elite monster and rallying his guild to score some sweet gear. His attack is so weak the demon just stops the blade with his bare hand, looking completely unimpressed. Not getting the hint, the player just screams for his entire party to dogpile the elite monster. His guildmates oblige, throwing a whole light show of beginner-level skills right at the demon, who starts to panic, realizing that getting swarmed by a horde of newbies is actually a huge problem. He's not having it, yelling that he's not just some level 10 pushover they can farm for experience. Right before he gets overwhelmed, Hansu zips in and yanks him out of the line of fire. Hansu gives him the classic shh, and suddenly the demon gets a brilliant idea for a little play acting. He starts fighting back, dramatically dodging a staged attack from Hansu to put on a show for the players. Hansu plays along, throwing a big, flashy punch that looks way more dangerous than it is, and then slams the demon to the ground, scolding him for forgetting his mission as part of the act. This performance continues with Hansu looming over his defeated subordinate, looking totally in charge. It works perfectly. The players watching realize these two aren't wild mobs, they're actual NPCs. With the stage set, Hansu turns to the players, holding the demon on a leash like a pet, and says hello. This lead player is completely thrown off, stammering a confused hello back at them. Hansu introduces himself as a commander and the demon as his lackey, launching into a story about a prophecy from Lucifer. He then offers them a quest to hunt down disloyal demons, promising big rewards for their help. His players are ecstatic, realizing they've just stumbled upon the server's first hidden quest and grabbing the bounty posters. With the players busy, Hansu decides it's time to go make trouble for another group he knows is in the area. He then casually asks his demon lackey about the Miss Angel who's been tailing them for a while now. Right on cue, a white-haired woman from the Angel Clan appears, claiming she was just following a contract, not them. Hansu knows the Angel Clan will catch on to the invasion soon, so he pulls out a map and says they need to power level fast. This plan is to hit the marked spots for key items before they start grinding, and he invites the Angel to join. She's not convinced since their factions are enemies, but he dangles a secret she desperately wants to know. So begins their little fetch quest, with the angel gathering some rare fruits from a spooky-looking graveyard. Meanwhile, the monocle demon scales a cliff, using a plant as a makeshift umbrella against falling rocks. And Hansu is on the run from giant bugs, collecting what looks like glowing honey pots. They finally gather all the ingredients, flowers, honey, and some very questionable-looking monster droppings. This angel is understandably grossed out, but the demon explains each component is either toxic, hallucinogenic, or irresistible. With all the parts assembled, Hansuta gets to work using his synthesis skill to craft a special potion. His new teammates finally get it. Instead of fighting players for mobs, they're just going to lure all the monsters to them. This angel is stunned by his game knowledge, while the demon just chalks it up to him being Lucifer's chosen messenger. And boom, the illusionary fragrance honey is complete, a potion that attracts all monsters in a 500-meter radius. With the bait ready, Hansu lays out his battle strategy, telling them all they have to do is follow his lead. This potion works a little too well, summoning an absolutely massive swarm of insectoid monsters. Standing above the horde, Hansu welcomes their experience pack and asks if everyone is ready for the grind. Both the angel and the demon are fired up, confirming they're ready to get to work. Turns out they're in the wild desert, a zone players avoid, making it the perfect, uninterrupted spot for some potion lure farming. Hansu leads the way, telling his new party to follow his exact footsteps to avoid triggering the magic traps hidden in the sand, and he quickly gives out orders. The demon will handle the stronger monsters while the angel mops up the weaker ones, which is a plan the monocle demon is more than happy to execute, immediately smashing his way through the horde. And the shared experience notifications start rolling in as the team absolutely blitzes the low-level mobs, with the angel elegantly slicing her way through the swarm for her cut of the XP. And in no time, they've both hit level 16, already asking Hansu what's next on the power leveling agenda. With a classic smug grin, Hansu reveals the next phase of his plan, which he's cheekily named Match 3 Game. His brilliant idea is to use another potion to make the remaining high-level monsters fight each other, letting them do all the work, so he tosses the vial down into the canyon where it shatters on impact, instantly enraging a giant bear and a mantis monster, turning them violently against one another. And the two beasts lunge forward as our boy and his crew just watch the chaos unfold from a safe distance, kicking off a full-on monster versus monster brawl right in the middle of the desert, while the team wisely leaps into the air to stay clear of the collateral damage. And Hansu calmly estimates the fight will last about 10 minutes before he moves on to the next pair. His Match 3 plan is literally just knocking monsters off a cliff into a death pit, which is both brutal and incredibly efficient, leaving a massive pile of loot at the bottom of the canyon as a reward for their lazy genius. After the grind, the angel is level 30 and the demon is 29, but they notice Hansu is still lagging behind until he mentions he has a plan B, and right on cue, a massive blast of green energy erupts from the ground, catching them all by surprise. Because they've just awakened the Lord of the Sands, a level 30 plague serpent that was sealed in the desert. But Hansu just smirks, calling the boss his backup experience pack and telling his teammates to get out of the way. This giant plague serpent lunges forward, ready to wipe them out. But Hansu just calmly summons a massive magma demon to intercept it. This new summon towers over him, a hulking beast ready for a brawl, and it immediately winds up a fiery punch to meet the serpent's charge, while Hansu activates a special die that lets him copy enemy skills. His demon grabs the serpent mid-strike, locking it down completely, which leaves the angel completely stunned, recognizing one of the skills as belonging to her clan's leader. Even the monocle demon is shocked when Hansu whips out one of his signature flame shields. This copied skills absolutely shred the boss, and a system window confirms Hansu is the first player to kill it. With the serpent defeated, he gets a new relic staff as a reward for his efforts. But he's confused, wondering where the hidden dungeon key is since his party was the first to hit level 30. A tiny cat in a top hat pops in to explain they don't get the key because they're registered as NPCs. It clarifies the key automatically went to the second guild to hit the level cap, the Chilling Wind Guild. Turns out this is the same guild that dominated the beta test, so they're not exactly amateurs. A quick flashback reveals they're being secretly funded by a corporate big shot named Wang Teng Rui. This guy is confident his team's inside knowledge of the game makes them unbeatable. This real problem for Hansu is that these people have seen him at the company, connecting his avatar to his real life. He realizes this Chilling Wind Guild is going to be a massive pain to deal with, but his two companions are ready to just go fight for the key, completely on board with whatever he decides. Hansu just smirks, telling them to follow his lead because it's time for another performance. This entrance to the hidden dungeon is guarded by a massive, ominous-looking stone knight. Meanwhile, the Chilling Wind Guild arrives at the location, completely unaware they're being watched from above. Hansu lays out the plan. His two companions will cause a scene, giving him the perfect opening to swipe the key. Before they can even move, a fight breaks out down below, saving them the trouble. Turns out another player is trying to mug the guild leader for the key, giving Hansu a golden opportunity. This guildmaster makes a run for it with the key, telling his team to cover his escape. Seeing his chance, Hansu zips off to intercept the runner, planning to trick him out of the item. He quickly transforms his appearance, getting ready for another one of his classic performances. Appearing as a winged warrior, he tells the guildmaster he's a fated one, destined to open the realm. This guy totally buys it, thinking he's triggered a secret quest and happily hands over the key. Just as the exchange is made, the other player who was chasing them finally catches up and attacks Hansu, who effortlessly blocks the strike, not even breaking a sweat. With a smug grin, Hansu thanks the attacker for the demonstration, revealing he now knows how to manipulate players. This original chaser finally arrives, demanding the key back, only to see Hansu has already beaten him to it. But the situation gets complicated when the attacker recognizes him, calling him by his real-world name, Zhang Wei Yuan. This old classmate reveals he was paid to get rid of Hansu and immediately lunges in for the kill. Hansu calmly blocks the attack with the relic staff he just got from the serpent boss. In a shocking twist, the guildmaster reveals Hansu was given a fake and uses the real key himself. This real key activates the dungeon, and a system scan begins to register the most powerful players nearby. A system window officially opens the dungeon, locking the guildmaster, Hansu, and his old classmate inside together. This dungeon locks them inside a massive, ominous-looking cathedral, and Hansu finally connects the dots, realizing his old bully and Wang Teng Rui were in cahoots from the start. A flashback shows that same classmate, Zhang Hui Yuan, literally stepping on him for getting better grades, admitting he did it simply because he couldn't stand seeing Hansu succeed. He even gave a whole villain monologue about how poor people are destined to be servants for the rich. Then, like a perfectly staged play, Wang Teng Rui appeared to save the day, pretending to be a concerned friend while the bully just smirked in the background. Back in the present, the guildmaster has a high-tech drone locked onto Zhang Yuan, who barely manages to deflect a powerful laser blast with his sword, which promptly explodes against the cathedral wall, showing off its power. This guildmaster smugly reveals his drone is a GM-exclusive item with no cooldowns and damage immunity, pure pay to win. He unleashes a constant stream of fire, telling the bully to make his suffering entertaining for the boss. While dodging the stray shots, Hansu screams at his old classmate, demanding to know why Wang Tengri hates him, questioning if this entire hit job is really just about money. Zhang Yuan coldly tells him to ask that question in the afterlife. After taking a direct hit, Hansu roars Wang Tengri's name, vowing his schemes will fail. Meanwhile, the guildmaster is watching the whole thing on a floating screen, enjoying the show he's orchestrating. He even offers to make the bully's death more comfortable, treating the whole thing like a game. With his energy depleted, Hansu knows he needs to stall for time, looking up at his tormentor. This guildmaster sees his chance and tries to buy off the assassin, offering to double whatever he's being paid. Hansu immediately tries to turn the tables, asking the assassin if he's really that cheap to buy. But the assassin isn't interested, instead warning the guildmaster that Wang Tengri plans to ruin him too, which is when he reveals his true target, dropping some kind of attack from high above, aiming straight for that overpowered GM drone, much to the guildmaster's shock, and the guy can only watch in horror as his pay-to-win advantage is about to be neutralized. But at the last second, a weird little green doll takes the hit instead, absorbing the entire attack. This little guy just sacrificed itself, leaving the guildmaster's drone completely unharmed. Turns out the guildmaster used a one-time use substitute doll to tank the hit, realizing the assassin knows all the dungeon's tricks. This assassin isn't done, though, using his own special items to navigate the dungeon's layout, activating a gate of passage that lets him teleport anywhere inside this cathedral instantly, and follows it up with another skill that massively increases the distance between them. Basically just toying with Hansu now, who's getting frustrated by this guy's endless supply of get-out-of-jail-free cards. He perches high up on an angel statue, looking down on Hansu like he's already won, but just as he's about to strike, the monocle demon shows up, screaming for his messenger to save him, because the assassin has already grabbed him, and the demon is hilariously trying to deny he even knows the guy. With his hostage secured, the assassin unleashes a massive AoE attack called Earth Annihilation, blasting the entire area with overwhelming power that seems to completely engulf Hansu. This assassin looks down on his captive, telling him to watch what happens to his so-called messenger. But surprise, Hansu's relic staff is glowing, and a system window confirms he just copied that Earth Annihilation skill. Now our boy is ready to throw that exact same god-tier move right back at him, leaving the assassin completely stunned. Hansu immediately throws the Earth Annihilation skill right back at the assassin, giving him a taste of his own medicine. But the guy just scoffs, saying a copied skill with a 5-minute timer is nothing against his invincible aura. And as Hansu launches the attack, the monocle demon is shocked his messenger is actually fighting to protect him. This assassin easily deflects the blast, laughing that Hansu is still the same weakling he remembers from the past. He then summons a bizarre, giant saxophone-looking weapon that erupts from the cathedral floor, which promptly lays down a glowing grid, trapping Hansu in some kind of magical formation. This assassin finally reveals the truth, telling Hansu that Wang Tengri has always been jealous of his dumb luck. This triggers a flashback to a time when Hansu's original work won a major award for a game adaptation, where Wang Tengri played the part of a proud, supportive brother celebrating his success. He even put on a show of defending Hansu's IP from corporate buyers, acting like a loyal friend. His real plan, however, was to propose they start their own game company, a perfect setup for his betrayal. Wang Tengri then invited him to experience the beta, a move Hansu now realizes was a complete trap. Our boy used to think they were going to be lifelong friends, but the whole thing was just an elaborate performance. This flashback ends with Wang Tengri's true twisted face, declaring he's going to take everything from him. His outstretched hand was the moment he symbolically stole Hansu's entire future. Back in the present, the assassin holds a blade to Hansu's throat, taunting him about the sting of betrayal. Before delivering the final blow, he leans in to drop one last, devastating secret, revealing it was Wang Tengri who paid him to be a bully all those years ago. With the truth finally out, the assassin plunges his sword straight through Hansu's chest. The system window confirms his weapon is a one-shot kill item, and it looks like it just landed perfectly. This assassin is completely stunned, realizing Hansu somehow survived his one-shot kill item, because a system window reveals our boy has a resurrection skill with a ridiculous number of charges. Hansu knew the sword was a consumable GM item, and now he's ready to proceed with his real plan, immediately launching into a dramatic chant, calling on the Son of Morning to hear his prayer. This triggers a system alert. He's summoning the guardian god Lucifer, who apparently hates loud music. This ritual begins to awaken the massive angel statue in the cathedral, which is where Lucifer sealed his dark side. But the assassin just laughs, revealing he created this hidden dungeon and is basically the god here. Hansu is not having it, calling him out for trying to control a game he poured his life into. He clenches his fist, vowing to use everything the assassin underestimated to finally strike back. Meanwhile, the monocle demon is freaking out, realizing his messenger really could summon the big boss. A massive hand suddenly grabs the demon's head as a voice questions who this messenger is, and the statue's eyes glow as Lucifer awakens, demanding to know which mortals destroyed his home. His face twists into a terrifying grin as he promises to make them all pay for the disturbance. This assassin, completely unfazed by the awakened god, just readies his sword for another fight. He charges straight at the statue, shouting that a god cannot be blasphemed, and a system window pops up revealing this guy also has a resurrection item with infinite lives. With a single devastating swing, he slices the entire massive statue clean in half. He lands perfectly, looking smug as he starts to gloat about his overwhelming power. Planting his sword in the ground, he once again declares that he is the god of this game. Right on cue, a skill called Heaven's Descent Strike rains down from above, aimed directly at him. This assassin gets absolutely blasted by the Heaven's Descent Strike, barely managing to stand. Turns out his infinite lives were just a ridiculously high number, and the system is burning through them at light speed. In the real world, his body maxes out its pain tolerance, and the system warns him to log out or risk permanent brain damage. Back in the game, Hansu coldly informs him that since he wanted him dead, he's going to return the favor tenfold. Meanwhile, Wang Teng-rei is having a complete meltdown, furious that his hired goon managed to screw this up so badly. An assistant reports the bad news. Jiang Huiyuan's consciousness is now trapped in the game, effectively making him a vegetable. This real problem, however, is that Hansu's consciousness is an anomaly that wasn't formatted by the system, which is why he's still active. A higher-up declares that under no circumstances can Hansu be allowed to log out of the game alive. This order is given to immediately contact a bounty hunter to take care of their little problem inside the game. Hansu, having overheard everything, crushes a communication device, sending an unrecallable message out. It's too late for them, as a video of the entire incident has already been transmitted back to the real world. Knowing Wang Teng-rei won't stop, Hansu decides he needs to find a special item to completely cover his tracks. He finds the monocle demon and his crew, who are happily looting the place and celebrating their new messenger. Hansu sneaks up behind the demon, asking him if he's enjoying the spoils of war. With a devilish grin, he offers to take them to a place with even more resources, and the greedy demon instantly agrees. Hansu then uses a skill to borrow some of the demon's blood for a quick getaway. This activates the blood demon talent, creating a group teleportation portal made of blood and roses. This clueless demon is crying tears of joy, thinking he's finally free and on his way to more riches. They all teleport to the base of a massive tower, where Hansu reveals his true objective is at the very top. Before they can even take a step, an attack rains down, forcing one of his new companions to throw up an angel shield to protect them. That opening attack was just the welcome wagon, and the demon's crew is already overwhelmed by the sheer number of monsters, as a system window officially welcomes them to the White Knight Abyss instance dungeon, guarded by Azathoth. Looking down, they see the entire spiral staircase is absolutely crawling with these glowing green monsters. Of course, the monocle demon completely ignores the danger, screaming about treasure as he charges ahead, only to be stopped by a system message basically warning him not to become prey, which is some solid advice right now. Right on cue, a massive rock golem drops from the ceiling, and the demon can only scream for everyone to watch out. Hansu leaps in to save the greedy idiot, blasting the golem point blank with his staff, quickly explaining the monsters will just keep spawning, so they have to cooperate to break the encirclement. His new demon-adjacent companions are surprisingly on board with the plan, ready to fight. This team immediately gets to work clearing the stairs, with his new allies calling the monsters small fries. One of them is even using this as a chance to test out his new strength after leveling up, just punching monsters in the face. Meanwhile, Hansu casts a healing spell on the enemies, which is actually a bug that drains their life and gives it to his allies. Genius. This monocle demon is suddenly overflowing with power from the bugged heal, feeling totally invincible. And with that massive power-up, he effortlessly carves through the monsters in his way. With the path cleared, Hansu urges them to hurry up the tower while the main boss, Azathoth, is still sleeping. But as they ascend, Hansu suddenly stops, noticing a strange green fog rolling down the stairs. His face drops as he realizes exactly what this fog means. They're in trouble. Turns out Azathoth is a slumbering divine being, and waking him up means instant calamity for the entire dungeon. This monocle demon looks up at the grotesque, multi-faced being, casually remarking on how unsightly it is. One of its faces opens its glowing red eyes, demanding to know which mortal dared to disturb its dream and if they're ready to pay the price. But before the fight can even start, a mysterious witch named Hearts appears, daring Azathoth to try and kill her. And the god is more than happy to oblige, firing a massive, light of chaos beam from its eye. Which is exactly what she wanted, as she calmly plays a card to summon the Guardian of the Moon, creating a golden familiar that just straight up swallows the entire divine laser beam. This system even pops up to thank the player's contribution, which is a wild way to say she just absorbed a god's attack, and in doing so she's rewarded with a brand new Chaos Moon card with some seriously broken abilities. With her new power-up secured, she starts openly mocking Azathoth, calling it a shameless fraud and a mere projection. This, of course, enrages the god, who promises to curse her insignificant soul for daring to question its power. She just laughs it off, summoning a massive golden deity of her own to counter the boss's tantrum, and the two divine beings immediately clash in a spectacular display of power. Hearts is absolutely thrilled, declaring she's here to claim Azathoth's essence for her own moon deity. In response, the enraged god unleashes a wave of green death mist that pours down the tower stairs, a move Hansu immediately recognizes, realizing some fool just triggered the boss's most dangerous environmental attack. This sinister mist quickly closes in on him and his party, carrying an overwhelming presence. Hansu uses his relic staff to try and disperse the fog, creating a small pocket of safety. But it's not enough, as the mist gets thicker and completely separates the demon crew from each other. His new allies immediately start attacking one another, completely losing their minds to the fog's influence. A system window confirms it's a mind control effect, turning his entire party against itself in seconds. Hansu realizes the mist also protects Azathoth's minions, meaning they're trapped and need to get out immediately. Just then, one of the demon crew spots movement above, thinking it's the target their boss sent them to find. Looking up the spiral staircase, they spot a blue light that must be their target. But a new party ambushes the guy first, binding him in magical chains to take him out. Hansu immediately recognizes them as the Chilling Wind Guild, raining down attacks on their prey. He can't believe Wong Tangry's goons found this place so quickly, realizing he has to get the item that guy is holding. That item is the Chaos Core, a ridiculously OP artifact that basically breaks the laws of time and existence. This guild closes in for the kill, ready to collect the bounty on their target's head. Hansu notices they're immune to the mist thanks to a special lamp, and knows he needs to steal it to save his own crew. So he makes a bold move, leaping straight towards the guy holding the artifact, but the guild members are not impressed, telling him to back off as they prepare to defend it. Hansu isn't fighting, though. He's casting Light of Purification to snap his allies out of their trance, except he uses a bugged version which makes his party fall madly in love with the enemy instead, a truly galaxy brain move. While the guild is completely bewildered by their new, very affectionate admirers, Hansu easily snags the Elwing's divine lamp. This lamp's light instantly breaks the mind control, and his white-haired companion looks absolutely stunned. She's now a full-on fangirl, calling Hansu Lord Michael for saving them all. Just then, a strange sound echoes from the top of the tower, grabbing everyone's attention. It's the Witch Hearts, gracefully descending on a massive golden feather. She's currently being chased by one of Azathoth's minions, fending it off with a barrage of crystals. This slumbering god's eye focuses on the chaos unfolding below, watching everything. Now free, the monocle demon roars at Azathoth, declaring demons will never bow and demanding to be let go. Azathoth answers that brilliant speech by impaling the demon's head with a flurry of tentacles. This god's many faces scream in agony, cursing everyone to eternal darkness as its eyes are targeted. And Hansu immediately warns his party not to look at the god's left eye, which is trying to suck them into a chaos void, as its eye swirls with a terrifying red pattern, basically a cosmic vacuum cleaner ready to go. A massive vortex erupts from the eye, immediately sucking in the bounty hunters from the Chilling Wind Guild, while our boy and his crew scramble to escape the pull, but the force is overwhelming. Looking back, they see the vortex is full of ghostly skulls, which is never a good sign. And Hearts casually explains from her perch that the vortex just needs a few sacrifices to calm down. Hansu is furious, calling her out for being a selfish psycho while his team is about to be wiped. But she just smirks, saying they should feel honored to be part of her grand entrance with her beloved. With a flick of her wrist, she plays a card that summons a sun-faced familiar to fire off some golden bullets, which merge into a massive beam of light aimed directly at the vortex below. Down below, one of the bounty hunters casts a taunt skill, pulling all incoming attacks directly onto himself, a brilliant move that centers the entire vortex on him, and he immediately regrets his life choices. Hansu, however, uses a bugged skill to transfer the vortex's pull away from himself and onto a new target, a move the witch is totally into, calling Hansu cold and ruthless, which is apparently her type. But she's also decided he's too dangerous, preparing a new Eye of Chaos card and vowing to eliminate him, and her spell instantly binds Hansu and his entire party in glowing ropes, completely immobilizing them. Hansu just smirks, telling her not to celebrate too early as he reveals a special ring, which according to the system lets him swap places with up to 2 other people in an emergency. In a flash, he swaps places with her, grabbing the witch as they're both caught in the vortex's pull. He yanks her right into the swirling vortex with him, much to his party's horror, which turns out to be a swirling mass of tormented souls, a truly terrible vacation spot. His crew can only watch in panic as the portal to this nightmare dimension slams shut behind them. They land in a bizarre pocket dimension called the Pupil World, surrounded by floating cosmic clock faces. This witch immediately puts it together, realizing Hansu's entire plan was to get his hands on her Chaos Moon card. She explains the item they need is here, but this dimension is guarded by a lethal star cloud wind. Right on cue, a massive energy tornado starts tearing across the platform they're standing on. A wind so strong it sends everyone flying and they can barely hold their ground. Hansu activates his blood demon power, creating a protective barrier to shield Hale's allies from the storm. Hearts, however, gets caught directly in the blast, getting absolutely shredded by the gale force winds. One of his companions breathes a sigh of relief, admitting they'd be dust without Hansu's protection. A system guide explains this place is a giant compass, and they have to teleport to the opposite side of the needle to survive. Suddenly, a card materializes on Hansu's chest, glowing with a strange purple energy, and the witch reappears as a spirit, realizing he had an avatar card of her this whole time. She gets uncomfortably close, suggesting they stop trying to outplay each other and just team up to survive. Hansu just channels his blood magic, clearly not interested in making friends right now. His crew confirms they're trapped. With Azathoth's eyes closed, no portals or skills can get them out. As another wave of wind approaches, even the witch has to huddle up with him for protection. A system window reveals their only hope. When the compass hits 12, the boss will sleep for 5 minutes. Until that moment arrives, all they can do is dodge the storm and wait for their opening. This white-haired demon is completely wiped out, barely able to hang on against the relentless storm. Hansu explains that the boss's sleep cycle is random, so he has no idea when this will end. On top of that, his escape portals are being blocked by some kind of chaotic energy, trapping them completely. This sends his new ally into a full-blown panic, screaming that Hansu is supposed to be an all-powerful being. As the tornado closes in, Hansu has to break it to him that he's not some omnipotent god. He's just a guy with a plan, and that plan involves summoning a massive, fiery scythe. He unleashes his trump card, summoning a gigantic four-armed demon to act as a living shield. This entire party, including the witch's ghost, immediately scrambles to cling onto the summon for protection. This new demonic bodyguard stands firm, taking the full force of the cosmic tornado head-on. Just to be safe, he even equips his new summon with a suit of molten rock armor. With his summon effortlessly tanking the storm, Hansu sarcastically declares that maybe he is omnipotent after all. One of his companions is completely floored, realizing only one legendary player could possibly know the game this well. This Chaos Moon card's cooldown finally hits 0, just as the armored summon holds the line. Finally, the massive tornado shatters against the demon's defense, completely dissipating. Having done its job, the summon crumbles away, leaving them exposed once more. Just as Hansu is about to collapse from the strain, a pair of hands reaches out to catch him. It's the witch Hearts, who catches him while the others thank her for the save. Hansu is clearly flustered by the sudden rescue, insisting he's perfectly fine. Right on schedule, the compass hits its mark, revealing Azathoth's weak point for a 5-minute window. With their opening finally here, the entire party launches a full-scale assault on the sleeping god. With the god's weak point exposed, Hansu leads the charge, plunging his relic straight into its core, and his demon allies immediately follow up with their own powerful strikes, with the red-horned demon punching the boss's flesh, knowing Hansu would be trapped without their help. He's even willing to sacrifice his own horns, his strongest asset, to break through the divine defenses. Fueled by pure loyalty, he roars that he will absolutely not abandon his new boss. And Hansu feels that trust, realizing that this time he won't be left behind to die. Their combined assault tears through the god's many faces, landing a critical blow, and just like that, their desperate all-out attack succeeds. A system window immediately confirms their victory, awarding them the legendary Chaos Core. Hansu now holds the S-rank artifact, which gives him control over the very star cloud wind that nearly wiped them out. He smirks, knowing this will finally hide him from Wang Tengrui, just as he hits level 40 and becomes the server's #1 player. This official leaderboard updates, but the top spot is listed as, keeping his identity completely secret. His demon companion pulls him into a hug, relieved he's safe and already planning their revenge. But their celebration is cut short by a new red-haired witch who asks about his beef with Wang Tengrui. She calls Wang Tengrui a backstabbing loser, but then questions why they'd follow Hansu, a guy who uses people. This witch gets right in the white-haired girl's face, telling her to step aside because she's interested in someone here. With a sudden blush, she admits the person she actually likes is. A quick flashback reveals her real mission. An associate promised her a meeting with a man named Abraham if she eliminates Hansu. Back in the present, she's got Hansu pinned, offering a deal since she helped him during the storm. She proposes that instead of fighting, he should let her live, and in return, she'll owe him one massive favor. Hansu agrees to her truce, but makes it clear he'll be collecting on that favor eventually. With the deal struck, she casually floats away, telling him she's looking forward to his call. This flashback continues, showing her reporting her successful bounty hunt to Wang Tengrui himself, who looks incredibly smug, toasting her success as a top-tier bounty hunter. But her promised meeting is delayed, since Abraham is apparently busy with a crowd of protesters below. Turns out they're protesting the very game they're all trapped in, begging for help. This witch, however, finds it very interesting that the protest is being led by one of Wang's own goons. He smirks, explaining that these people are just greedy pawns he can easily manipulate with money. This is all part of his grand plan, which involves a famous dungeon from the original game, the Pocket of Time. A server-wide announcement confirms it. The new dungeon update drops in just under a week. This isn't just a new dungeon, it's a massive update introducing class advancements and faction-based PvP. Hansu puts it all together, realizing Wang Tengrui is distracted and probably thinks he's already been eliminated. He knows this dungeon is a big deal, as the final boss is the Goddess of Time, a major story NPC. And that's his real target, because a piece of the game's source code is hidden inside her scepter. Since Wang has the game terminal locked down, getting that source code is his only path to freedom. This scepter is one of the rarest divine items in the entire game, and an item that powerful is going to attract every high-level player on the server. So he gathers his new demonic allies, explaining that this level 40 raid is their next big objective. Not everyone is on board though, as some of the demons question why they should trust an outsider. But the white-haired demon leader shuts that down, saying Hansu's strength makes him worthy of their trust. Hansu sees his opening, realizing the demon leaders are desperate for resources to maintain their army. So he casually presents an epic-grade Demon's Eye crystal, claiming he found a few mines worth, which shocks the demon leadership as it's the exact material their head researcher desperately needs. Immediately, the other demons start demanding their cut, arguing they helped him get it in the first place. One of the more forward demons even tries to sweet-talk him, asking if he has any other goodies to share. And Hansu responds by revealing a massive pile of treasure, basically a dragon's hoard of rare materials. His loyal red-horned companion immediately calls out the others for being greedy, saying Hansu earned all of this himself. So to reward that loyalty, Hansu gifts him a legendary-grade bracer that boosts his defense. This demon is completely flustered by the gesture, barely able to ask what he's being given, before another demon swoops in, explaining it's a relic once worn by the great Lucifer himself. With everyone's attention secured, Hansu puts a force field over the loot, telling them they have to join his army to get a piece. Without a moment's hesitation, 3 of the demon captains pledge their entire core to his cause. In an instant, the entire demon faction is kneeling before him, their loyalty bought and paid for. Hansu then reveals his trump card, activating a special ring and channeling the power of Lucifer, which projects a massive, godlike phantom of the Demon King right behind him. A system window explains this is a legendary hidden item that lets him summon the phantom for 30 seconds. Sight so overwhelming, the demons immediately begin to worship him as their true leader. He smirks, knowing this little display was more than enough to secure their allegiance for the upcoming raid. Of course, this display of absolute power immediately attracts another admirer from the demon ranks, as the scene shifts to a vision of a massive, multi-winged angelic being, the goddess of time herself. One of the demon girls reads an ancient text, realizing Hansu's display was the coming of a true demon god. Meanwhile, in the celestial realm, the goddess of time announces her descent is in 7 days, asking her council for advice. One of her paladins immediately volunteers to eliminate anyone who stands in their way, no questions asked. But a wiser advisor suggests they should probably gather some intel before going on a holy crusade. This goddess seems to entertain the idea, asking him how they'd even manage that. He proposes using a forbidden art to steal an outsider's identity and learn their secrets from the inside. She publicly shoots down the idea as too risky, ending the meeting right there. But back in her chambers, she's already targeting a level 40 player, deciding it's time for a little sacrifice. This raid location is revealed to be the Angel's Holy Island, and the demons have officially appointed Hansu as their commander. Hansu and his new crew arrive at the dungeon, with him reminding them to lay low and focus on the mission. One of the demon captains immediately gets cozy, asking him for a little inside info on which path has the best loot. He explains their choice: a high-risk red portal with great drops, or a safer blue portal with mediocre rewards. Naturally, the greedy demons immediately want to charge into the red portal for that sweet, sweet loot. Hansu just smirks, knowing the ever-suspicious demon leader won't trust his seemingly obvious advice. And just as planned, the demons split into 2 groups, with the leader choosing the safer blue portal. Our boy celebrates his 5D chess move. He used their paranoia against them, making them choose their own fate. Just as he's about to enter his chosen portal, a pair of hands grabs him by the face, revealing a mysterious woman dressed like a nun who says she's finally found him. She uses an angelic skill to scan his identity, completely thrown off by his overwhelming demonic aura. Pinning him down, she demands he return the item he took from the Sweet Kitty Church, a scepter pointed at his neck. Before Hansu can get an answer, a random hooded player attacks him for being a show-off. But a blonde paladin immediately slams his sword down, announcing the arrival of the server's public #1 player. He then thanks Hansu for his help, clearly impressed that our boy has already hit level 40. With the coast clear, Hansu starts healing the nun, who is apparently being chased by that hooded guy. As he does, she secretly activates a strange ring, shooting a beam of light from her eye, which triggers a massive magic circle, trapping all 3 of them as she senses a false god's aura. In a flash, they're all teleported into a hidden dungeon, completely caught off guard by the sudden change. Their welcoming committee is a horrifying, multi-headed monster that immediately screeches at them. Hansu and the nun instantly get into a battle stance, ready for whatever this place throws at them. This paladin steps up to tank, telling the other 2 to stay behind him while he holds the front line. They quickly introduce themselves, with Hansu as a mage and the nun as a priest named Sweet Kitty. She's obviously playing a role, deciding to stick close to Hansu to figure out his whole false god situation. Just then, a swarm of shadowy creatures with wild hair and claws descends upon the new party. This paladin yells a warning as the first wave of monsters closes in fast, ready to overwhelm them. He unleashes a spinning blade attack, creating a vortex of light that tears through the initial mob. Hansu knows these monsters are weak but endlessly respawn, making them a huge pain to deal with. And he's right, as the entire floor is soon crawling, with an endless horde of centipede-like creatures. While the paladin is distracted by the swarm, a much larger winged demon boss appears behind him. It strikes from his blind spot, its bladed arm about to hit him before he can even react. But Hansu unleashes a bug-level light spell, obliterating the entire swarm in a massive pillar of holy lightning. This paladin is clearly impressed, telling Hansu his performance is way too good for an ordinary mage. While the nun eyes him suspiciously, trying to decide if his overwhelming power is divine or demonic, their little party is immediately interrupted by the arrival of a massive level 50 centipede boss, which lunges at them without warning, forcing the paladin to throw up a last-second barrier. Hansu is completely thrown since he has no memory of a boss this powerful ever existing in this dungeon. This nun is also watching him, noting his reaction speed is off the charts and marking him as a serious threat. This paladin takes the lead, charging in to tank the boss and telling the others to get ready for his signal. Unfortunately, the monster immediately starts charging a massive ball of toxic energy in its mouth and unleashes a poison breath that shreds the paladin's defenses, making him scream for a heal. Sweet Kitty provides an instant heal, topping off his health bar in a flash. Back in the fight, the paladin blocks a heavy blow and yells for Hansu to finally start his attack, but he turns around to see our boy just standing by a cracked wall, completely ignoring the battle. Turns out he's discovered the dungeon's control center, which has been modified by an angel NPC. He's fascinated by this, realizing the game's supercomputer AI has evolved far beyond its original programming. As Hansu touches the wall, the nun senses that false god aura again, her suspicion growing stronger. So she pulls a classic move, dramatically collapsing and claiming she's all out of mana. This leaves the paladin to fend for himself, telling the others to escape while he holds the line. He pops his ultimate defensive skill, gaining a massive stat boost at the cost of reduced healing. But then Hansu casually walks up and reveals his demonic form, leaving the paladin utterly stunned. He then summons a massive lava golem, ordering it to crush the boss like it's nothing. This lava golem blasts the centipede with a massive fire breath attack, but the paladin is stunned to see it only deals 1 damage per tick. This boss is basically invincible. Hansu explains this is an angelic beast and its shell makes it ridiculously tanky, so he switches it up, hitting the monster with a powerful ice spell instead, which leaves both the paladin and the nun completely speechless that he can use 2 elements. This ice attack actually cracks its armor, making the boss screech in absolute agony. As the monster goes berserk, the paladin yells for Hansu to watch out, but the lava golem easily blocks the enraged counterattack with its own body. This gives Hansu the perfect opening to leap onto the boss's head, right above its weak point, and he one-shots the thing with a single punch, dealing max damage and ending the fight instantly. This boss explodes into a shower of high-quality loot, including some epic-looking gear. With the massive centipede defeated, the other two can only stare at the aftermath in disbelief. While looting, Hansu senses the Angel Queen's aura, wondering why she's meddling in this low-level dungeon. He knows her personality, and her presence here means something is seriously wrong, which makes him realize his demon allies who took the other portal are in grave danger. Without explaining, he just tells the others to follow him and dashes off deeper into the dungeon. This nun immediately gets paranoid, wondering if he's somehow figured out her secret mission. Meanwhile, the demon leader who chose the safe blue portal is getting absolutely demolished by angelic knights. In stark contrast, the demons who took the red portal have found a beautiful, peaceful area full of easy mobs. They're having the time of their lives, with the white-haired demon leader laughing as he effortlessly clears the room. Meanwhile, the demons who followed Hansu are chilling in a gorgeous area, praising him for picking the easy route, and his loyal red-horned buddy is already swimming in loot, happy as can be. They're all just admiring the scenery, completely unaware of the massive jellyfish boss floating right above them, which a system window reveals is a level 50 heavenly jellyfish mother. A nasty surprise. This red-horned demon immediately goes on the offensive, smashing the smaller jellyfish with his tendrils. But he's shocked to see that everyone he destroys just splits into 2 more. This white-haired leader steps in, thinking the kid just isn't hitting hard enough, and unleashes a massive blood slash, while their third companion uses a wide-area sonic attack to try and control the ever-growing swarm. Unfortunately, their efforts are useless, as the blindfolded demon warns his shield won't hold for long against the horde. They're forced to scatter, with the leader complaining that the dungeon's level cap is nerfing his true power. Suddenly, a projection of Hansu appears, telling them to stop attacking since this is a trap designed to drain their stamina. He instructs them to lure all the mini jellyfish back to the main boss to force them to merge, and they immediately obey. Turns out, Hansu found the dungeon's control room and is watching both parties on surveillance monitors. He recognizes the tech, realizing it's being powered by a specific angelic faction's magic. Communicating through the system, he tells his allies to just focus on surviving while he figures out a solution, warning them that if they die here, they'll become permanent slaves to the Angel Queen. Over in the safe blue portal, the paranoid demon leader and his crew are surrounded by unkillable shadow phantoms. This leader is finally starting to believe Hansu is legit, right before Hansu's voice cuts in, asking what they're doing. This demon leader immediately flips out, accusing Hansu of setting this trap as the phantom begin to attack with chains. But one of his own subordinates grabs him, yelling that Hansu is trying to save them and he needs to stop being ungrateful. That demon subordinate is still trying to talk some sense into his paranoid leader, telling him to get a grip. This phantoms immediately attack with spectral chains, and the rest of the demon crew starts to panic. From the control room, Hansu realizes the Angel Queen's trap makes the phantoms attack anyone showing hostility. He immediately contacts the group, ordering them to ignore the phantoms and just close their eyes. They reluctantly obey, but the paranoid leader is still asking why he should trust the guy who trapped them. Hansu lays out the stakes. If they die here, they'll just become mindless puppets for the Angel Queen. This nun is internally freaking out, realizing Hansu knows she's behind this but isn't calling her out. Meanwhile, the paladin is just impressed by Hansu's deep knowledge of the game's lore and NPCs. Over in the blue portal, the red-horned demon is just blindly smashing through walls trying to find his leader. This paranoid leader stands with his eyes closed, still convinced this is all a trick to get him killed. So against all common sense, he decides to take a little peek, only to find the phantoms have morphed into horrifying, grinning versions of himself. This female demon throws up a last-ditch barrier, but the phantoms immediately swarm her, and because he looked, the leader gets absolutely dogpiled by his own spectral doppelgangers. This nun watches this unfold, judging Hansu for letting it happen, and decides this is her chance to strike. Hansu, meanwhile, is already looking ahead to the next challenge, a pit swarming with mother spiders. This paladin jumps right into the fray, thinking this is just some easy EXP farming. But the nun knows better, smirking because these spiders are designed to respawn endlessly and drain their resources. So Hansu just casts another bugged light spell, creating a massive AoE ring and telling the others to get inside. This paladin wonders why they aren't just farming the entrance, but Hansu cryptically says the answer lies ahead. He explains that these mother spiders are a level 50 nightmare that just endlessly spawns smaller mobs, and if they aren't wiped out immediately, even a level 90 boss would eventually get overwhelmed. As he holds a ball of light, he can feel the Angel Queen's aura, confirming this whole dungeon is on a custom hard mode. With that figured out, he just sprints for the next door, leaving the paladin and nun scrambling to keep up. This nun is getting seriously paranoid, wondering how this random mage knows so much about her clan's secret weapons. Turns out Hansu has found the dungeon's real control center, a room he actually designed himself. On a massive floor screen, he sees a vision of a captured female demon being chained by an angelic being. She's desperately calling out for the messenger to save her, clearly in a very bad spot. Meanwhile, the paranoid demon leader from the Blue Portal group is completely losing his mind, attacking the phantoms. So Hansu just tells his red-horned buddy to go knock him out, and the guy looks absolutely thrilled for the job. A new female demon ally by Hansu's side can't believe a top-tier boss is being mind-controlled by a level 50 illusion. With the paranoid leader unconscious, she orders the red-horned demon to destroy the magic circle on the floor. He happily obliges, shattering the glowing sigil with a single, powerful punch. Back with the jellyfish crew, they're getting tired of just dodging, wondering when they can finally fight back. This blindfolded demon finally gives the signal. It's time to take down the main boss. Their white-haired leader immediately leaps into action, preparing a devastating final blow. He unleashes a massive slash of dark energy, aiming to end the fight right then and there. But at that exact moment, the red portal behind them begins to destabilize and glow ominously, while the blue portal does the same, causing the other demon team to panic and call for help. From the control room, Hansu watches both teams on his screens, calmly telling them they'll all be reunited very soon. Just as Hansu promised, both demon teams are unceremoniously dropped into a massive chasm, finally reuniting them. From his control room, Hansu uses a charm skill on the two bickering demon leaders, basically forcing them to behave. This charm immediately works on the white-haired leader, who's now blushing and stammering a forced apology. Our boy looks incredibly pleased with himself as the demon leader fumes, vowing revenge for the utter humiliation. Their reunion is cut short by a massive golden hand slamming down, with a voice demanding to know who's messing with the experiment. A colossal angelic statue materializes, declaring it will punish them with death for their intrusion. A system window identifies this thing as a level 50 statue of Michael, an AI war weapon with adaptive combat skills. Turns out the captured female demon is being used to buff the statue, giving it a nasty damage reflection ability. Hansu realizes the Angel Queen herself buffed this statue, but he has a special ring that lets him ignore the angel's divine pressure. Unfortunately, his allies don't have that luxury and are getting debuffed, so Hansu orders them to hold back until he figures out the buff. This golden statue begins to gather light, preparing its first attack, which turns out to be a massive light construct hammer and sword ready to bring the pain. This demon crew barely manages to block the initial strikes, screaming for Hansu to do something before they get wiped. This statue winds up for a devastating overhead slash, aiming to flatten Hansu completely. But the paladin, ever the tank, leaps in to block the blow, his shield immediately starting to shatter under the immense pressure. Hansu notes that the statue's reflection buff didn't activate, deducing it must have specific trigger conditions. Just as he's about to test his theory, he spots a massive, multi-elemental spell barrage coming from another direction. It's a full-on kill-steal attempt, with some unseen party laughing about how they're going to take the final boss. This chaotic spells rain down, forcing the already struggling demons to scramble for cover. A new player enters the field, a skeletal bard who effortlessly puts up a barrier, mocking the incoming attacks as weak. This skeletal bard is actually a white-haired demon who mocks the new arrivals with a massive dark magic attack. But he's completely stunned when his spell is instantly nullified by a volley of holy arrows. His demon allies are getting wrecked, with one shouting that their powers are being weakened by some unknown force. It's a whole new party of players, and their archer leader is already taking aim at the main group. He confronts Hansu directly, threatening to wipe him out if he doesn't back away from the boss immediately. This paladin is furious they're trying to steal the kill, but the archer just smugly threatens to hunt him down for 24 hours. Hansu calmly tries to warn them, explaining that using a bug to get here is incredibly dangerous since the game is unstable. He lays it out. If they die here, the game's safety protocols might fail, leaving them brain dead in the real world. This archer's brilliant response is to just fire an arrow straight at Hansu's head, which somehow misses and hits one of his own teammates, leaving both of them completely shocked. While the paladin braces for a fight, the archer just laughs, thinking this whole mess will make a great video. Hansu meanwhile decides these idiots are the perfect guinea pigs to test the Angel Queen's buff on the statue. He immediately orders his own party to fall back and get clear of the boss. As his team dodges a massive hammer swing, the new party eagerly rushes in to take the aggro. They quickly discover they're outmatched, barely able to block the statue's enormous sword. This paladin doesn't get why they're just watching, but Hansu just smirks and tells him to enjoy the show. This female archer who got hit suddenly realizes Hansu might have seen through the secret buff she cast. Her cocky leader just calls Hansu a coward and draws back another powerful glowing arrow. He lets loose a massive energized shot aimed right for the statue's head, which connects perfectly and deals a grand total of 1 damage. This statue immediately retaliates, firing eye beams that vaporize the new party members on the spot. And a flood of system messages confirms the entire kill-stealing party has been wiped from existence. This paladin is stunned, asking if this was all part of the plan, while Hansu just smugly orders his team to attack. With the guinea pigs gone, Hansu's crew finally gets to engage the colossal statue themselves. This paladin tanks a heavy blow while the nun hangs back, trying to act helpful so Hansu won't suspect her true identity. But Hansu is already onto her, noting she's a player pretending to be an NPC and a fangirl of the Angel Queen, so he decides to test her. He casts a bugged shield, telling everyone to go all out because the Angel Queen is watching and could take direct control at any moment. This is exactly what the nun was waiting for, realizing this is her chance to hijack the statue and turn it on the demons. She gets a system buff confirming she has control, but Hansu just grins, having perfectly predicted her move. He immediately hits her with a bug chain skill that restrains her and has a chance to steal a buff. And just like that, he yoinks the statue controller buff right off her, telling her she's way too naive for this. This nun is completely floored, wondering who this guy is and how he could possibly know her every move. Now in command, Hansu orders the statue to stand down, and its golden form immediately begins to crumble. As the angelic shell falls away, the rocks underneath reassemble into a new, more basic form. This defeated boss drops a massive pile of loot, including a pocket watch, a coin, and other rare items. Hansu holds the terrified nun, reminding her that in the demon clan, failure isn't an option. He then tells his demon allies to split the loot, except for the 2 best items which he's claiming for himself. Examining a strange coin, he realizes the Angel Queen is adding custom items to the game that he's never seen before. This other item is a legendary pocket watch that can freeze enemies and nullify time-based skills, a seriously OP find. A mysterious hourglass appears before him as he smirks, finding this whole custom dungeon very interesting indeed. Elsewhere, the Angel Queen smirks as she adds another collectible to her glowing blue bag, revealing she's been trapping the souls of defeated players and demons into a series of magical cards. This demon's inside are fully conscious and freaking out, completely powerless as they're sealed away. A final golden sigil flares, locking them into their card prisons for good. Meanwhile, Hansu and the entire demon crew are unceremoniously teleported into a vast, starry void. He lands on a checkered floor, realizing this time pocket has been activated way ahead of schedule, which means the Angel Queen is running this whole show without the game's usual safety protocols. This nun asks where they are, and Hansu confirms this is the personal treasure vault of the Goddess of Time. She immediately starts fishing for info, asking if a legendary angelic artifact is hidden here. Hansu tells her to keep dreaming as a massive swirling helix of time energy materializes before them. System windows explain the helix has 2 paths, one to the past and one to the future, and standing guard over it all is a massive imposing figure who is clearly the next boss. One of Hansu's men wisely suggests not provoking the Guardian, and our boy agrees it's not the right time. With both demon factions now united, they're all looking to Hansu for a plan. This white-haired demon leader, however, just sees a treasure room that's ripe for the picking. He immediately powers up his chain weapon, ready to take on the Guardian to claim the loot. So Hansu just has his red-horned buddy grab the guy in a headlock to stop him from ruining everything. With the idiot neutralized, Hansu activates the time stream, and it begins pulling them toward a new destination. This Guardian doesn't even react, simply continuing to write in his book about the nature of time. This party finally arrives in a vast canyon, standing before a massive structure at the beginning of creation. This demon crew complains about the barren wasteland they've landed in, only to be greeted by a colossal stone warrior who's happy to have some new challengers. A system window announces the start of a trial, spawning a gauntlet of mythological beasts. Hansu just smirks, recognizing this as a chance to witness a piece of dark history firsthand. One of the demons explains these monsters are immune to all but critical hits, so he'll take point. He buffs up and uses a chain skill to get his red-horned buddy out of the way before charging in, landing a direct, supercharged hit on the 3-headed dog beast, which is enough to take it down in a single clean strike. With the path clear, the red-horned demon happily gets to work on the giant ape. This rest of the team joins the fray, making short work of the remaining monsters. Having cleared the trial, they arrive at a massive gate, with the demons now completely in awe of Hansu's leadership. This entire crew gathers, ready to follow him into whatever fresh hell lies beyond the portal. Inside, they find a woman trapped in a glowing orb, and Hansu immediately recognizes her. A mysterious voice chimes in, telling them to put on a good show for the goddess. This area's boss reveals himself, the Guardian of the Past, a being with time-based abilities. Hansu immediately orders everyone to spread out and protect their past selves, leaving the demons totally confused. This Guardian taunts them, asking if they even remember who they used to be. His power activates, creating a spectral copy of the red-horned demon that will transfer all damage directly to him. Suddenly, a massive hornstone statue erupts from the ground, a clear manifestation of the demon's past, and it immediately traps him in its hand, declaring it will bring an end to all things. This red-horned demon is completely stunned to see his past self, who looks way more regal and way less demonic. Hansu explains that this guy, Dumu, was actually designed to be the game's original final boss. But he was so ridiculously overpowered that Hansu just deleted him for being no fun to fight. Back in the present, the Guardian of the Past channels a massive fire attack, ready to bring the pain. This stone manifestation of Dumu's past now stands before him, ready to enforce the trial's rules. This rest of the demon crew can't believe their buddy used to be that strong, which explains a lot. Hansu clarifies that while he was the final boss in the lore, players never actually fought his full power version. Meanwhile, the nun is getting nervous, realizing this version of Dumu is a serious threat that needs to be taken out. This stone guardian roars, preparing to unleash a wave of absolute destruction. A massive firestorm erupts from the ground, forcing everyone to scramble for their lives. This guardian declares this is the end of the line, personally stepping in to finish the trial. Hansu tells his team to stay back since they can't handle the guardian's flame skill, leaving him to handle the rescue. He gives the white-haired leader a simple job: wait for an opening, then rush in to save Du-mu, much to the guy's disbelief. Turns out, Du-mu is the Blood Demon King, making him immune to blood-based attacks, so Hansu charges in. This moment he enters the historical node. System windows pop up with some nasty debuffs Hansu didn't plan for. It's revealed the Guardian is using Du-mu's past self as a divine weapon, channeling his immense power. Realizing his own damage output is nerfed, Hansu whips out a bug chain skill to even the odds. These glowing green chains immediately wrap around the stone Guardian, locking onto its health bar. This skill applies a bugged debuff that tanks the Guardian's fire resistance, which is just beautifully ironic. This Guardian is absolutely furious, accusing Hansu of messing with time as it prepares to strike him down. Hansu dodges the firestorm while casting a blue spell to slow the Guardian down, then immediately follows up with a bugged skill that wraps around its leg, cutting its cast time by 90%. This Guardian tries to stomp him flat, but our boy is already long gone, and he smirks from its foot, having successfully baited out the boss's passive ability. This triggers an attack that instantly encases the helpless Du-mu in a block of ice, before the Stone Guardian brings its hand down in a massive fiery explosion. With the boss's health now at 15%, a cutscene triggers, summoning a remnant of the past. A system window explains this time disturbance will create a rift in space-time, as the Guardian floats ominously on a rock, preparing for his next big move. While meteors rain down from the sky, Hansu just grins, confirming his plan is working perfectly. Suddenly, a grotesque multi-eyed monster appears, the so-called Time Remnant. This white-haired demon leader immediately powers up to blast the new monster, calling it trash. But Hansu stops him, pointing to a newly opened time rift and telling him it's his turn to shine. Looking way too confident, the guy leaps into the portal, promising not to disappoint. Inside, he finds two objectives: a mirror image and a tombstone. Realizing these are the keys to the fight, he immediately smashes the tombstone with a single punch, destroying the time echo for good. Back outside, the massive stone manifestation of Du-mu's past starts to crumble into pieces. Hansu, meanwhile, has copied the Guardian's ultimate skill, giving him a 5-minute power-up. The Risville Guardian is absolutely livid, gathering dark energy for a final desperate attack. He unleashes his own annihilation skill, surrounding himself in a vortex of destructive power. This Guardian concedes defeat, impressed by Hansu's unconventional win, and agrees to return the nun as a prize. As she falls back into his arms, the nun is completely baffled, wondering how Hansu is even here. This immediately makes her suspicious, realizing there might be another double agent working for the Angel Queen. This Guardian then opens two portals, offering a choice between the present treasury or the future's Palace of Destiny. Meanwhile, back in the real world, the news is reporting that over 3,000 players are now trapped inside the game. This crisis has a developer absolutely losing it, screaming at one of his employees for being useless. He gets aggressive, blaming the guy for the whole mess and threatening him with serious consequences. But the employee just calmly promises to handle it before walking out, leaving his boss fuming. A blonde colleague then asks him what the plan is, suggesting they get Abraham to solve the problem. This just sets the guy off, as he snaps that they're all useless parasites who only know how to rely on one person. He storms off down the hall, leaving his coworker completely stunned by the outburst. Turns out, Blondie is a spy, immediately texting his contact that something is seriously wrong with their target. Back in the game, Hansu reflects that this dungeon was never supposed to trap players like this. And with so many lives on the line, he's just hoping the notoriously selfish white-haired demon leader doesn't screw things up. He knows the guy is a loose cannon, so he resolves to clear the dungeon and save everyone before things get worse. Hansu then gives the white-haired leader his mission: stay behind in the time rift and wait for the perfect moment to act. This guy eagerly accepts, promising not to fail as he stares into a swirling dark vortex. With that sorted, Hansu opens a new portal for the rest of the crew, telling them their next target is the Guardian of the Future. A system window warns that this portal will split them up for individual trials based on their future selves. And we see one of these trials begin, where a demon is forced to fight shadowy clones in a test to defeat the messenger. One of the demons realizes if just one of them clears their trial, the whole team advances. Meanwhile, another demon gets a system prompt to rescue his teammate, who's being dragged into a dark void. Turns out this trial has a nasty debuff that nerfs all healing, making this a nightmare for a support class. In a different trial, a fire-wielding demon has no choice but to tank a direct hit from a falling fire golem, but he dodges the initial impact with a powerful leap, narrowly avoiding getting flattened. This system declares the messenger of the end will go first, as a massive fire attack is unleashed. With that, he clears his trial, relieved that the challenge was at least within his attack range. Elsewhere, a different demon's trial begins, pitting him against a squad of angelic archers. In yet another trial, two spectral demons are locked in a standoff within a swirling vortex. Back with the healer, he finds himself chained, realizing this trial is judging his past actions and restricting his abilities. This system gives him only one shot, forcing him to decide between targeting the Angel Queen or the demon army. He checks his skills again, confirming the debuff has inverted his healing. Any attempt to help will just hurt his allies more. He sees an angel charging up a level 90 skill, the Arrow of Judgment, knowing his nerfed heals can't possibly save his friend. With no other choice, he activates a sacrificial skill, trading 99% of his own health to fully heal his target. This skill activates just in time, creating a shield around the male demon who intercepts the arrow meant for his partner. His trial is cleared, and he's just glad it's over, realizing he'll have to rely on the others to win from here on out. But his relief is short-lived as a voice declares its intent to destroy everything, leaving him completely stunned. Before him stands a colossal, fiery version of himself, his future self, who has entered an annihilation state. He collapses, realizing his one life-saving skill is on cooldown, making this future version of himself completely unbeatable. His only hope is to bet that the goddess of time's rules still apply, preventing his future self from killing him outright. A system window pops up announcing that the whole crew has passed their individual trials and are now reunited. This white-haired leader immediately grabs Dumu, playfully annoyed that he finished first, while Dumu just laughs about winning their bet. Their reunion is cut short by a massive hoof stomping the ground, heralding the arrival of the next boss. This guardian of the future, a colossal minotaur-like warrior who declares their fate is already sealed. But he's just the muscle, as the real threat, the messenger of the end, sits calmly on a giant wolf above them. This entire demon party now stands together in a new desolate arena, facing their final challenge. This guardian wastes no time, immediately trapping the whole team in a cage of blue energy as the trial begins. With a command from the messenger, the guardian readies his axe, dwarfing the adventurers below. He brings the massive weapon down in a devastating swing aimed at wiping them all out at once. This team scatters, with their leader yelling for everyone to focus their attacks on the Guardian. Meanwhile, the messenger activates a wide-area skill called Fate Weaving, which slowly spreads across the battlefield. This crew scoffs at the slow-moving attack, confident that even their weakest members can dodge it. Of course, the messenger just smirks, using a foresight ability to make his skill instantly activate, and the attack teleports right under their feet, forcing the leader to yell for everyone to use their damage reduction skills. Realizing the messenger is just a support unit protecting the Guardian, the leader orders everyone to charge the big guy. This Guardian responds with another swing, creating a wall of dark energy that blocks their advance. Switching gears, the leader tells his winged teammate to fly up and snatch the crystal orb from the messenger. She takes to the air, figuring the messenger is strong but slow, making him an easy target for a speed-based attack. This messenger, completely unfazed, activates Predestination, a skill that marks one random player for a huge hit. This winged woman is the unlucky target, and with a 5-second timer ticking down, the leader screams for her to get back so they can share the damage. This winged woman knows she's out of time, racing to grab the orb before the messenger's foresight kicks in. And with only 3 seconds left, she taps into the goddess of time's power to defy his predictions. But the messenger is already using his own ability, mapping out all her possible moves to find the path to victory, which makes him completely stunned when she dodges his counter, somehow managing to see his future instead. And with just 1 second to spare, she lands safely, announcing to the team that she pulled it off. Just as the leader yells for everyone to heal, the predestination skill finally activates, and the entire team takes the hit together, successfully splitting the massive damage between them. This messenger just scoffs, taunting them that even if they can predict his moves, they can't escape their fate. But with the Guardian temporarily locked down, the leader orders his team to focus on the messenger's orb, and a system window confirms their plan worked, as the whole crew stands ready with the orb now in their possession. Without the messenger's protection, the Guardian roars as he gets absolutely blasted from above, and the whole team piles on, desperately trying to burn down the big guy's health bar, with one of the demons unleashing a massive energy blast to hammer the now vulnerable boss. This messenger finally concedes defeat, admitting that since they stole his crystal, his control is broken. And as a reward for clearing the trial, he offers them a treasure chest from the goddess of time herself. But then a system window announces the dungeon's bug has been fixed and the AI is being debugged, confusing everyone. And while the blonde knight suggests logging out, the leader reveals the real problem. He's trapped and can't leave. This knight just smirks, declaring he'll stay too, since the #1 ranked player can't be seen running away. As a new system window confirms, the player count is down to 5, with the remaining members ready for the next trial. They all look up as a massive crystalline structure descends from the sky, radiating an incredible amount of pressure. This crystalline structure wastes no time, firing a massive spear of purple energy at the team. But instead of a fight, the goddess of time herself, Kronos, materializes in a cosmic void. This remaining players are completely floored, though one of them immediately senses something is wrong with her. A close-up confirms it. Her face is split, one eye crying while the other glows with a sinister red light. With a single command to kill, she unleashes her power on one of the unsuspecting players below. And her attack instantly cuts through 2 more members of the party, who are caught completely off guard. Turns out she's not here to help, as she unleashes a wave of dark energy to wipe them all out. And just like that, the entire team is down, left unconscious on the desolate ground. This leader, barely conscious, can only wonder if this is really how his journey ends. His thoughts drift to the fact that dying here means dying for real, regretting the choices that led him to this moment. That regret quickly turns to pure rage, questioning why they have to be the ones to die and blaming someone called the king. He screams in defiance, absolutely refusing to go down like this after being betrayed and used. But a mysterious voice speaks from the darkness, sensing his rage and offering him one last chance. This goddess of time then appears, holding an hourglass as if to turn back the clock just for him. Suddenly, he's back on his feet, infused with a strange new power, wondering if her killing intent somehow affected him. He immediately lunges at her in a blind rage, but she calmly stops him, saying the world needs a hero. As he breaks down, she explains her consciousness is being corrupted and this is the last thing she can do. He has to stop her. At that exact moment, the corruption takes over completely, twisting her into a terrifying dark version of herself. This new dark goddess places him on a cosmic chessboard, warning that aligning with any side will lead to his certain doom. She reaches out one last time, telling him this is her final gift and that he absolutely must survive what's coming. It all flashes back to the leader who was trying to upload his dying mother's consciousness into the game. He successfully digitizes her, creating a permanent AI version to keep her alive forever. And this new digital mom promises to always protect her son, which is a whole new level of backstory. Back in the present, the corrupted goddess mocks this memory, sneering at such a weak emotional bond. She crackles with dark energy, deciding it's time to make this final battle a lot more interesting. With that, she pits the players against a massive demon army on the cosmic chessboard. A necromancer on the enemy side immediately summons a wave of minions, laughing at their chances. But the nun steps forward, countering the dark magic with a blast of holy light. Meanwhile, one of the three guardians gathers his own power, vowing to protect the goddess's true glory. He unleashes a massive energy beam that completely wipes out the demon vanguard in one shot. This attack even clips the corrupted goddess, knocking her health down to 70% and making her furious. She roars that these ants are going to pay for daring to lay a hand on her. But the leader activates his new power, nerfing everyone in a massive radius down to level 40. This goddess tries to crush his magic circles with her bare hand, but his time-based spells hold firm. Completely enraged, she unleashes a storm of purple energy, screaming that no one can defy Kronos. This leader immediately yells for the three guardians to use their ultimate defense skill to protect the team. They join hands and create a dome of absolute safety, shielding everyone from the goddess's onslaught. Our guy reveals his plan. He knows breaking the chessboard will cause a backlash, and he has to strike when her evil side is weakest. That moment arrives as a bug in her own system hits her, and he declares it's time to give her body back. He summons a massive hourglass, yelling for the real Kronos to wake up and fight off the corruption. This real Kronos finally breaks through, smiling as she tells him she's back. And in her final moments, she offers him her weapon as a parting gift, before she's erased. He's now the proud owner of Time's Trace, a one-of-a-kind god-tier weapon. This thing is absolutely stacked, with an ability that can literally exile targets from the world. On top of that, he gets a rewind skill, letting him turn back time for 15 seconds, a total game breaker. Kronos then explains that the entire world has been sealed behind a massive barrier, and his only way through is to find and get help from the god of the earth. Meanwhile, the rest of the team starts to wake up, with the blonde knight thanking the guardians for the protection. His demon teammates are just confused, wondering what their leader is doing now. With tears streaming down his face, the leader vows to find the god of the earth and make the king pay for everything. A system window pops up announcing a job change event is starting, after which the game will be down for a 3-day update. He realizes his friends have all been sent on separate quests, and he'll have to level up to unlock the map and find them. This job change is a one-time chance for every player to upgrade their class, with better rewards for higher levels. He knows his current class is bugged and weak, so he has to land a rare job to get an artifact he needs in the real world. An angelic guide kicks off the S-rank trial for a massive crowd of players, both human and demon. A new character appears, showcasing a limited SS rank hidden class, the Summoning Priest. Our guy sees the rare class and immediately decides that's the one he's going to get, no matter what. In another part of the trial area, an angel statue asks the assembled warriors if they're ready for their new jobs. This blonde knight is already there, complaining that his only options are warrior or useless support. Turns out he's been trying to roll for a better class, and after 3,000 attempts, the gacha gods have given him nothing. This blonde knight is less than thrilled, complaining that after all his effort, he landed a support class he's not even good at. And our leader knows why. Calculating the gacha odds for a rare job are a measly 0.03%, let alone a hidden one. Since he's trapped and can't use real money, he realizes his only option is to sell his entire inventory for more reroll attempts. A helpful system cat pops up to confirm he can trade literally anything, materials, gear, even divine weapons for more pulls. So he dumps a mountain of rare items into the system, cashing them all in for a shot at a decent class. This other players just see a rich whale spending like crazy, completely unaware he's just burning through his life savings. But before he can even start, the system announces the server's first limited hidden job has just been claimed. And of course, it's the blonde knight, who somehow lucks into the Holy Berserker class with a massive fiery summon. His new job comes with a skill that makes him completely immune to all damage and magic for 12 seconds, which is just broken. He roars with excitement, feeling the surge of power from his new top-tier class. On top of the immunity, his new passive gives him lifesteal and a ton of other buffs, basically turning him into a one-man army. Meanwhile, our leader's reroll counter hits absolute 0, leaving him with nothing to show for his sacrifice. He's completely crushed, having sold all his legendary gear for nothing, feeling utterly abandoned by the gacha gods. But just as he gives up, a bug notification appears, granting him a single blessed pity roll from the system. He uses that one last chance and a massive, sinister magic circle erupts around him, shocking everyone nearby. This isn't your average summoning circle either, as a hellish staircase appears with skeletons clawing their way out. He emerges completely transformed, rocking a new Dark Lord aesthetic with a crown and demonic armor. A system window confirms it. He's landed the unique hidden job, Demon Sacrifice, and even gets a sick new throne made of skulls. An angelic being immediately descends to confront him, declaring his light is gone and he'll now face the goddess of the earth. Turns out, his trial is to survive for 2 hours while the entire server gets to hunt him down for a chance to steal his new class. A system window explains the trial. He has 2 hours to prove he's worthy of the class, ignoring all restrictions. And of course, the entire server immediately sees this as a golden opportunity to jump him for that sweet, sweet loot. Even though he's only level 40, he's completely unfazed, basically daring the massive mob to make the first move. A couple of knights charge in first, thinking he's just a squishy summoner and an easy kill, but he just casually unleashes a wave of hellfire from his throne, knocking them back without even getting up. This attack hits way harder than expected, and the knight immediately starts screaming for a priest to heal him. Their leader just rallies the troops, yelling that with their numbers, they can definitely wear him down eventually. Our guy just smirks, welcoming them all to become sacrifices for his new demonic powers. He then summons a field of dark crosses, a skill that calls in stronger demons to finish off weakened enemies. And with that, he summons his first big gun, a massive level 40 demon commander. Turns out this is Dumu, the Flame Demon Army commander, and our leader welcomes his old ally back to the fight. Dumu kneels before him, pledging his undying loyalty to his master on his new throne of skulls. This other players absolutely lose their minds, realizing he just summoned a legendary boss-tier demon with a 20-minute timer. With his first commander on the board, he decides it's finally time to deal with this annoying mob. This knight leading the charge isn't backing down though, ordering his own squad to push forward. But Dumu steps in their way, cracking his knuckles and telling them the road is officially closed. He then unleashes a literal hellfire inferno, completely engulfing the vanguard in flames. One of the players gets caught, screaming that he'll just use a resurrection stone since he's a whale. This knight ignores the chaos, leaping high into the air for a powerful downward strike on our guy. But Dumu instantly teleports in front of him, catching the blade with his bare hand like it's absolutely nothing. This knight is completely baffled as his attack does 0 damage, wondering how his skills are totally ineffective. Dumu just scoffs, then casually flicks the knight away with a single dismissive gesture. This other players start to panic, realizing this summoned demon doesn't even have a health bar. He's basically a raid boss. From the backline, a sniper decides to test that theory, firing a powerful holy arrow straight at the commander. This shot actually lands, chipping off a tiny sliver of health and finally making a health bar appear. This mob's leader just laughs, smugly pointing out that of course you need holy type attacks to damage a demon. Our guy, still chilling on his throne, decides he's seen enough and activates a skill to summon more backup. With that, he calls forth 2 more hulking demons, announcing that the players' 10 minutes of fun are officially over. But the sniper isn't giving up, charging up a massive area of effect arrow skill from the high ground. His attack rains down from above, successfully pinning all 3 of the summoned demons in place with holy light. Seeing their chance, the leader orders his mages to enchant the warriors' weapons for a full frontal assault. This new strategy works like a charm as the holy-powered knights start tearing through the immobilized demons. Our guy finally gets off his throne, a little disappointed that his summons couldn't handle this mob on their own. This main knight sees an opening and charges straight for our leader, getting buffed by his priest from a safe distance. But our guy just casually bats away some incoming magic projectiles, completely unfazed by their coordinated attack. He actually redirects the shots right into Dumu, who takes the hits for him without a second thought. He's now using his own legendary summon as a literal meat shield, which is a pretty cold but effective move. Realizing the summons are just a distraction, the enemy leader orders everyone to ignore them and focus fire on the main target. This leader checks his cooldowns, knowing he just needs to stall for 5 more seconds to land another big hit. To make sure it counts, he chugs a cash shop potion that makes him immune to demon attacks and doubles his holy damage. With his buff about to run out, the knight leader stares up at our guy, who's still just chilling on his throne. Our leader just smirks back, ready to flip the script on this entire fight. He pulls out a glowing book and activates a golden contract, a skill that lets him summon holy beings. As little cherubs fly around him, he muses that the gods seem to be on his side after all. And with that, he summons a full-blown, high-ranking angel to the battlefield. This sniper who was causing all that trouble is completely stunned. A demon class shouldn't be able to summon angels. But it's too late for regrets, as the angel's holy music paralyzes him on the spot. In a single brutal flash, the angel swoops in and completely eliminates the sniper from the trial. Meanwhile, in the real world, some corporate suit is fuming as a system window confirms our guy passed the trial. He's furious that his own pro player not only failed to get the hidden class but lost it to our MC. Turns out, this MC is one of the game's original creators, and this suit has been trying to get rid of him. As they watch the MC's victory on screen, another guy tells the suit to worry about his own mess. Elsewhere, a mysterious red-haired man decides he needs to eliminate our hero before his identity gets out. This suit, however, sees a business opportunity and gets on the phone to spin this into a PR win. His associate is annoyed, pointing out that their investors are now interested in the very guy they tried to sabotage with GM powers. This suit just laughs, revealing his plan to have his associate pretend to recruit our guy into their guild. His partner grins, realizing they can use him for dangerous dungeons and just let him accidentally die. Back in the game, our guy immediately gets a guild invite from that same associate who's now using an in-game avatar. This guy approaches, acting all friendly and praising his strength before extending the official invitation. Our leader considers it, knowing he needs allies to fight the king, but he's also aware this is probably a trap. Our guy considers the offer, thinking about his old NPC crew and deciding he needs real allies now to take on the king. This recruiter sweetens the deal, promising him priority on all guild resources and mentioning a special dungeon item. That gets our leader's attention, an item to upgrade a guild. He knows the king must be feeding these guys info to try and use him, so he agrees to join, and the recruiter is thrilled, announcing to the whole party that their new powerhouse is on board. This plan is simple. The recruiter sends our guy's summons with a recon team while he personally escorts the MC to the boss. With his summons dispatched, our leader opens a portal and leads the main party into the dungeon. They arrive at the entrance to a dark cave, and the recruiter grins, saying they're just in time for the boss's first respawn. But as they peer inside, the recruiter's face suddenly drops in total shock, because the dungeon's pre-boss, a pink-haired woman, is just casually relaxing in a spring. Our guy explains this boss drops an item that gives a 10% stat boost to the entire guild, making this a must-win fight. Two of the guild's frontliners don't waste any time, charging straight in to attack. This boss just starts singing, and her hypnotic melody immediately takes control of the two charging warriors. Under her spell, the two guildmates turn on each other, clashing weapons in a blind rage. An archer in the backline identifies it as a charm skill and fires off a purification arrow to break the spell. This holy arrow lands, and the boss seems more annoyed than actually hurt by the attack. Meanwhile, the two warriors snap out of it, completely dazed and confused about what just happened. Realizing they were manipulated, they get furious and charge back in for round 2. This time, the boss unleashes a ground-based attack that inflicts a nasty bleed effect on anyone who touches it. While the others are distracted, our leader starts charging up a massive summoning spell from the back. He unleashes a divine skill called Starfall Void, instantly wiping out 15% of the boss's health in a single blast. This guild members are floored by the damage our guy just dealt, realizing how lucky they are he's on their side. But the boss isn't done yet, summoning a swarm of glowing white doves that start circling the area. This recruiter yells for everyone to dodge, but it's too late as the doves explode, taking out a couple of guildmates. When asked for more backup, our guy just says he's already hit his demon summoning limit for now. Unfortunately for the recruiter, one of those explosive birds heads straight for him, and he gets a face full of holy explosion for his trouble. He's absolutely furious, accusing our leader of setting him up on purpose. Our guy just smirks, saying it's all for the boss, as the rest of the guild gets taken out by the doves. Losing his cool completely, the recruiter orders the entire party to drop defense and just zerg the boss down. This brilliant strategy results in even more of his guild members getting wiped out by the explosions. He just stares in horror as a flood of system notifications confirms his party is getting decimated. Turns out the boss's skill sacrifices her minions to heal herself, and the guild members are now those minions. This charmed guild members then mindlessly charge into a dark portal our guy conveniently opened up. This nets him a massive EXP boost, and he instantly gains 2 levels from their sacrifice. Now at level 50, he stands over the defeated boss, leaving the recruiter completely speechless. He knew the king was trying to use this guild to get rid of him, but the plan clearly backfired. He reveals his true plan. He was just using them to get the boss's health down to 10%, because at that threshold, his demon sacrifice skill activates, letting him convert the boss into his own personal summon. And just like that, the former boss is now his loyal subordinate, even handing over a rare item called Cupid's Tear. This recruiter, having contributed nothing but bodies, furiously demands our guy hand over the loot. Our guy just smirks at the recruiter, asking him what he plans to do now that his entire scheme has fallen apart. This recruiter is left completely stunned, surrounded by the ghostly purple spirits of his own fallen guildmates. He realizes he's trapped, with his former allies now serving as our hero's personal demonic army. In a desperate move, he fires off a grappling hook item, trying to make a quick escape from the ambush. He zips into the air, thinking he can get away now that he's the only one left, but he's dead wrong. One of the massive spirits of his former guildmate leaps high into the air to intercept him, and slams him right back down to the ground with a devastating crash. Before he can even get up, another one of his ex-teens lands a solid punch right across his face. This beatdown continues as a wolf-like spirit sends him flying with another powerful blow. Finally, a horned demon grabs him by the head, ready to end this little rebellion for good. Pinned to the ground, the recruiter tries to bargain, but our guy coldly reminds him to know his place. This recruiter looks up in terror, demanding to know what's happening to his body. But his personality suddenly flips, and he starts threatening our guy, telling him to kneel or be erased. For a split second, this sudden bravado actually catches our hero completely off guard, until the recruiter immediately goes back to pathetically begging for his life. Then he's back to being a creepy villain again, taunting our guy with a sinister, fanged grin. Turns out the recruiter was trying to use a Trojan horse item to possess our guy's character, but it failed spectacularly. This item backfires, and the recruiter's body is instead taken over by some dark entity that starts gloating. This new entity reveals its original plan was to use the item to steal our guy's character all along. But its victory speech is cut short as its new host body starts dissolving into pink light, leaving it utterly confused. Our guy grabs the recruiter, activating a skill to see exactly what he's been up to, and it looks like he's forcing the guy to experience the consequences of his own failed plan firsthand. Meanwhile, in the real world, the corporate suit is furious that his subordinate got his whole team wiped out. Just then, an assistant bursts in with news that our guy's performance has attracted the attention of a very powerful figure. But the suit just laughs, seeing the massive betting profits rolling in from this whole fiasco. And he decides to let his subordinate's failure slide, since the money makes it all worthwhile. He warns his team not to mess with our hero for now, since he's being watched by someone important. With his legs dissolving into code, the suit heads off to report to this mysterious backer. Back in the game, our guy realizes he needs to figure out who this powerful person is that the king fears. To do that, he decides it's time to build his own guild and gather some allies and intel. He steps out of the dungeon and is greeted by a friendly-looking knight player. And using the Cupid's tear as a bargaining chip, he offers to start a new guild with the guy. This knight is all in, promising to be super selective and keep out any spies. But our guy has a different plan, telling him to recruit everyone, especially spies, from the enemy guild. Elsewhere, a player lurking in the jungle notes that this new guild seems to be accepting anyone who applies. He thinks it's a joke, basically a club for spies, right before a strange portal appears on his shoulder. A system window confirms a Trojan horse item is activating, letting him be controlled to infiltrate the guild. It's not just him either, as other players are also being turned into puppets for the same purpose. Turns out the king has a whole army of low-level players ready to be used as pawns, and now the suit himself is gearing up, ready to personally lead a team to put on a show for his boss. This corporate suit himself logs in, ready to personally handle our guy in the new Earth God dungeon. And our hero is more than ready for him, smirking about the special gift he has waiting. This scene shifts to the entrance of this new dungeon, a massive, glowing fissure in the desert. A couple of players are already there, complaining that they can't even form a party for the 10-person raid. Right on cue, our guy and his summons literally drop in from the sky to get things started. His presence immediately spikes the dungeon's difficulty to hell mode, leaving the other players speechless. Inside, he finds the layout is completely different from what he remembers, with red eyes watching from the dark. Instead of the first boss, he's in a random cave with some giant mob lifting a boulder. A mysterious cat-like guide appears, giving him a new quest to find the real boss of the area. To get a better look around the dark cavern, he has his Cupid summon act as a living flashlight. This light reveals the cave walls are absolutely covered in thousands of pulsating eggs, and crawling with a massive swarm of giant monstrous ants, which is just perfect. He immediately summons his army of demonic spirits to deal with the bug infestation, but his regular summons are completely overwhelmed by the sheer number of these B-rank ants. So he activates a sacrificial skill, preparing to bring out something much stronger. He calls forth one of his most powerful partners, a formidable red-horned demon. This new summon unleashes a massive wave of fire, incinerating the entire ant swarm instantly. Unfortunately, the intense heat from the attack also causes all those eggs to start hatching at once. From the flames, a new A-rank flying ant emerges, dripping with some kind of corrosive acid. And it's not alone. An entire swarm of these upgraded flying monsters now faces him. Realizing the ants will just keep spawning, he tells his demon to create a bigger opening, and his partner obliges, smashing the ground to reshape the terrain with a fiery punch. This brilliant move only reveals an even larger, more horrifying swarm waiting in the darkness below. Our guy grits his teeth, knowing the king must have personally designed this hellish level just for him. With no easy way out, he and his summon are completely surrounded by the endless tide of giant bugs. He figures the king must have left an escape route to impress his backer, so there has to be a way through. Getting a wild idea, he tells his Cupid summon to cover him in the ant's scent, and then he dives straight into the swarm, letting the giant insects crawl all over him. His plan is simple. In the dark, the ants hunt by smell, so he just needs to blend in. And it actually works, as he and his demon walk right through the egg chamber completely unnoticed. Of course, he's not just sneaking by. He's charging up a skill to turn the tables on them. He calls on Cupid's power, wrapping himself in her unique holy aura to prepare an attack. This unleashes a swirl of white doves that seem to pacify the entire area around them. And he follows up with a holy serenade skill, a massive blast of purple energy to control the battlefield. This move buys him a precious 5-second window before the rest of the eggs start to hatch. With the ants temporarily neutralized, his demon partner is free to handle the source of the problem. Meanwhile, the charmed doves find a beam of light, pointing the way to a potential exit. Our hero doesn't hesitate, squeezing through a narrow crack in the cavern wall to escape. He emerges into a new chamber and finds the quest target, a massive mountain god clinging to the cliff. Landing on a ledge with his demon, he finds it suspiciously quiet, with not a single ant in sight. He's confused why the quest didn't complete, just as his demon senses something is very wrong. Because the mountain god was just a shell, and a system window confirms the first part of their mission failed. A dark, ominous presence erupts from the god's body, taking on a completely new form. And of course, it's the real boss of this floor, a terrifying humanoid ant king. A new quest pops up with a simple objective: kill the ant king in 10 minutes or face a party wipe. This boss immediately activates its domain, buffing every single ant in the cavern by a solid 30%. With the clock already ticking down, our guy knows this is going to be a serious challenge. He realizes all the ants he just pacified are now back online and stronger than ever, completely ruining his strategy. Even Cupid's holy doves are sent out, but it's a futile gesture against the overwhelming swarm. This A-rank ants are now completely immune to control skills, tearing the doves to absolute shreds. His other summons are getting overwhelmed, telling him to just escape while he still can. He calls on another summon, a winged creature, to try and create an opening for them. Meanwhile, he orders his main demon to use a ground-clearing attack to deal with the endless mob. With his summons buying him some precious time, he can finally focus his attention on the Ant King itself. But the Ant King teleports right behind him, mockingly asking if he was looking for it. It grabs him by the head, its unique skill allowing it to devour literally anything it touches. He's shocked that it can think and speak, realizing it must have absorbed the mountain god's power. Just in the nick of time, the corporate suit's avatar swoops in with a fiery punch to save him. This hit lands squarely, but the Ant King's new exoskeleton, made from the god's bones, absorbs the blow. This suit's full power attack does absolutely nothing, and he gets blasted back by the sheer force of the impact. This corporate suit is completely frozen, staring down the monstrous Ant King that just appeared. And before he can even react, the boss lunges forward to attack. But our guy's demon partner intercepts, grabbing its arm and telling it to back off his master. Seeing an opening, our hero orders his summon to hold the boss down for a big play. This demon digs in, using all its strength to pin the Ant King in place, while our guy leaps high above the boss, ready to strike from its blind spot. He lands right on its head, but the Ant King is way stronger than they thought. It easily pierces through the demon's hand with its sharp appendage, and then runs him straight through, taking one of his best summons out of the fight. Not willing to lose his partner, our guy immediately activates a powerful healing spell, sending the life-saving tree over and telling his summon he did a good job. This Ant King, now free, raises its claw to finish our hero off for good, but he's already casting another skill, creating a swirling red vortex of energy. He unleashes a devastating slash, telling the boss it's going to pay for that. This attack lands multiple direct hits, chipping away at the Ant King's health bar, which only makes it roar in absolute fury, clearly damaged but not defeated. This boss retaliates with a powerful swing of its own, forcing our guy on the defensive. At that exact moment, his winged summon warns him the entire ant swarm is heading their way again. Surrounded, he activates an assimilation skill, unleashing a wave of dark fire. This new ability turns the ants on each other, forcing the swarm into a chaotic frenzy. This Ant King is absolutely furious, roaring about him, daring to harm its children, and it taps into the mountain god's power, its spectral form looming right behind it, which our guy instantly recognizes as the god's ultimate skill, a very bad development. His winged summon swoops in, warning him to be extremely careful of the incoming attack, as the Ant King unleashes a storm of purple energy spikes with completely random trajectories. Knowing he can't win by just dodging, he decides he has to pin the boss down himself. But the Ant King just stands there amidst the chaos, looking completely untouchable. To make matters worse, the mission timer is now down to a nail-biting 15 seconds. He grits his teeth, knowing a boss that can reshape the terrain is a hell of a challenge on a clock. And his summon confirms the bad news. The Ant King is controlling all the rocks, cutting off any escape. Weaving through the attacks, he realizes this must be the boss's last-ditch, all-or-nothing move. But he's also wondering if this final burst of power is just for show. A system window pops up, identifying the skill as Mountain Prison, designed to crush him completely. This Ant King gloats, telling the puny mortal to prepare to be erased. But our guy notices the attack isn't nearly as strong as the original Mountain God's version. He puts it all together. The boss must have gained this power by devouring the god's body. This Ant King lunges, demanding to know who he is and how he knows its secret. But just as it strikes, our hero blocks the blow with a brilliant flash of golden energy. He smirks, declaring that he's the god who created it in the first place, and with only 5 seconds left, he unleashes a massive vortex of fire right back at the boss. This Ant King's health is down to a sliver with only 4 seconds left on the clock, and our guy smirks, telling the boss to just submit since he's its creator anyway. But the Ant King roars in defiance, and a system window confirms the taming attempt has failed. With the timer about to run out, the corporate suit starts to panic about the impending party wipe, but our hero just scoffs, deciding he's going to break the rules with 1 second to spare. He activates a time-slowing skill, trapping the Ant King in a bubble where it can barely even think, taunting it for being a petty loser even at the moment of its defeat. This mental attack seems to work, as the boss is completely frozen in place, and its furious energy finally gives way to a wave of purple submission. Just like that, the Ant King bows, and he gets a system alert confirming his new summon. This timer officially ends, but since the boss is now his, the contract is valid and his winged summon dissipates. His new pet immediately puts up a protective shield around the corporate suit and his own summon. But a new system window pops up, detecting that our guy used a cheat code to win. This triggers a punishment phase, and dark tendrils erupt from the ground to restrain him. As he realizes the king must be personally targeting him with this attack, he grits his teeth, remembering how the king could reshape the entire battlefield on a whim, and now that same power is being used to amplify all of his weaknesses. It all clicks. That mysterious cat guide was just the king toying with him the whole time. This corporate suit is already getting crushed by the collapsing terrain, making it clear this game just got real. So our guy uses a chaos skill to slip into a dimensional rift, knowing he has to find the king to fight back. He's now determined to lure the king out and face him directly, finding himself in a pocket dimension surrounded by countless identical floating rocks. Meanwhile, the king, still in his cat form, is getting seriously ticked off by our guy's cautious approach. Since he can't even pinpoint his location among all the decoys on his monitor, he knows smashing every rock is a waste of time and will just expose his own location, so he decides his only option is to just wipe them all out at once. But our guy is already making his move, opening a vortex and taunting the king that there's no escape. From that vortex emerges a massive corrupted sea god, basically a giant evil octopus. This is the king's big play, a terrifying monster glowing with dark, chaotic energy. This king gloats that our hero is still way out of his league, completely unaware of a little shadow behind him. Turns out, our guy has a summon with a shared vision skill right there, letting him get a perfect lock on the king's true location while the cat is busy monologuing. This king's grand plan is to give his new monster a mental buff, making it completely undetectable. But the summon has already located its real target, our guy, perfectly disguised as just another rock. And it's a jackpot, because he's found not just the king, but the actual game controller used to modify boss attributes. This giant octopus moves in to devour the rock our guy was hiding in, thinking it's just a snack, its tentacles wrapping around the decoy to completely crush it. As it smashes the rock to bits, however, it realizes its target is gone. That's because our hero has already latched onto one of its tentacles, remarking that this monster is just a big kid. He knows this type of creature likes to play with its food, saving the best for last. He tells his tiny Cupid summon to go have a little chat with the giant octopus, and she immediately unleashes her fatal seduction skill, a massive wave of pink energy, while the king gloats from the sidelines thinking this is the perfect chance to tame the beast. His victory speech is cut short, however, when he realizes our hero has appeared right in the monster's face. A system window confirms the punishment phase is still active and this octopus is part of the show. So our guy tries to reason with it, claiming an evil spirit is trying to harm it. This monster is understandably skeptical, but their conversation is interrupted by a new system alert for an ice attack. He quickly warns the big guy to watch out for the incoming assault, just as a massive ice spike is blocked by one of his other, more demonic-looking summons. This king then helpfully explains that the real target is hiding somewhere among the floating rocks, which sends the octopus into a frenzy as it starts grabbing them to find the culprit. It proceeds to smash the rocks together, not exactly the most subtle search method. Annoyed by the slow pace, the king decides to just buff the monster's power by 200%. With the new buff active, a fresh volley of ice thorns materializes in the air, but the enraged octopus just roars and prepares to counter the attack head-on. It easily shatters the incoming ice projectiles by flinging more rocks at them. At that exact moment, our hero appears right behind the king, calling him out for attacking his own boss. This king completely loses it and launches a giant rock fist, but our guy stops it cold with a single hand. This leaves the cat absolutely stunned, demanding to know how he was discovered, but he quickly recovers, gloating that it doesn't matter since he's about to be melted into the floor. This giant octopus is roaring in absolute agony from the mental attack, while the king gloats that our guy is trapped in a forbidden melting art. He's dragged down into a swirling vortex on the floor, completely at the king's mercy, and the monster's maw opens wide to swallow him whole. But he sacrifices his angelic summon, letting it get devoured to create a critical opening. Turns out, his tiny Cupid summon was sent to snatch the king's game controller, and she immediately crushes the device, severing his connection to the system. This feedback makes the king physically sick, losing his composure and blaming the octopus. With the system link broken, our hero gets right in the cat's face, weapon ready, telling him to just surrender now that his little cheat device is gone. But the king just smirks, acting like losing his main advantage was all part of the plan. He reveals the controller was just a toy, as dark purple energy begins to surge around him, and he transforms into his true demonic final boss form, ready for a real fight. Our guy isn't intimidated in the slightest, powering up with his own golden aura to match him. He summons his two strongest partners, a fire demon and an ice angel, for a 3-on-1 showdown, using a blood sacrifice skill to push their power to the absolute limit. This king just scoffs, taking their hits without flinching while mocking him for using summons in his world. He declares himself a god, unleashing a massive wave of his own chaotic energy, focusing all that power into a single devastating punch aimed right at our hero. But the attack lands with a thud, and our guy just looks down, asking if that's really the best a god can do. Our guy mocks the king for turning a perfectly good game into this absolute mess, as his ant army watches on. This king just grins, saying he's done playing nice as he swings a massive energy blade, and he gloats that our hero will always be his loser, powering up a vortex of shadow energy. But our guy just casually blocks it with a shield, the attack barely even scratching his defenses. This king then unleashes a volley of energy blasts, but our guy reveals he can control time too. Declaring it's his turn to fight back, he uses a time acceleration skill to close the distance instantly. He lands a solid punch right in the king's face, calling it payback for his betrayal. This king gets sent flying back through a massive explosion, completely caught off guard by the speed. He manages to stop himself mid-air, looking absolutely stunned that he actually got hit. Our guy is already above him, coming down with another punch for being blinded by greed. This time the king manages to block it, their fists meeting in a massive shockwave of power. This king screams at him to back off, but our hero is already winding up another strike. He gathers a ridiculous amount of golden energy into his fist for the next blow, and this punch is for messing with his game, wreathed in brilliant red and gold flames. This blow sends the king rocketing straight down, smashing him hard into the floor. Now completely enraged, the king pulls out some kind of rainbow-colored artifact, vowing to make him pay. A system window identifies the item as a Trojan horse, a tool that can hijack other players' accounts. Before the king can even use it, our guy plunges his hand right into the demon's chest, but a defensive spike erupts from the king's body, piercing his hand and ignoring his shield. This king smirks, thinking he's got him, and asks if our guy really thought he was that tough. This king just smirks, completely unbothered by the fact his own spike is stuck in our hero's hand, revealing it's a special bone blade that ignores all defenses and deals true damage. A system window pops up to explain his Wind Shadow Sword skill, an unpredictable flurry of attacks. But our guy just calmly asks who the king is really working for, since he's clearly just a middle manager. He brushes off the king's threats, saying he has nothing to discuss with a dead man. Our hero has already pieced it together. The king's caution proves he's just a pawn for a much bigger player. He then warns the demon that his boss is going to need a replacement for him very soon, as a dark, corrosive energy spreads from his pierced hand, affecting the king's ant army. This king just laughs it off, admitting he's clever but a new sacrifice will be found soon enough. But then our guy's hand turns to stone, trapping the king's blade and leaving him totally stunned. Turns out, his newly tamed ant king has a death's touch skill, a nasty neurotoxin from the octopus. Realizing he's been played, the king absolutely loses it and lunges forward for another attack. In response, the Ant King summon spits out a blast of blinding ink, another one of the sea god's tricks. A system window confirms our guy now has the sea god's abilities, as a giant red monster manifests behind him. This king rages, calling him delusional for even thinking he can protect himself at this point. But our hero just tells him to relax, because the real show is only just getting started. This king scoffs at the display, crossing his bone blades to defend against the obvious frontal assault. Unfortunately for him, massive red tentacles erupt from the ground, piercing him from all sides. These tentacles have a mind of their own, and a system window confirms brute force is useless against them. This king is left completely restrained, with the tendrils only tightening their grip the more he struggles. This king struggles desperately, screaming that he's a god and can't be held by mere tentacles. But he's told that even gods can be devoured by ants, as tiny shadow creatures crawl all over him. He tries to counter with a lightning shield to resist the debuffs, but the little red ants just start eating away at his body, leaving glowing wounds behind. As a last resort, he summons a massive vortex of bone blades, preparing to wipe everything out. But our guy just stands there, completely unimpressed by the final boss's temper tantrum. He calmly tells the king that he's no longer even qualified to be his opponent, as one of his shadow summons materializes to intercept the incoming attack. This summon effortlessly blocks the entire barrage, proving the king's power was all talk. This just makes the demon rage even harder, vowing revenge for the absolute humiliation. At that moment, the summon closes the distance, its hand glowing with the Death's Touch skill, and it lands a single tap on the king's forehead, injecting the neurotoxin directly. With the king completely paralyzed, our hero declares the game is over and activates the Trojan horse item. A system window confirms the invasion has begun as dark energy surges from his hand, but he immediately realizes something is wrong. This feels completely different from a normal skill. Turns out the Trojan horse has been detected as a virus, triggering the system's self-repair protocol. This entire dimension begins to glitch out, revealing a glimpse of a real-world control room in full panic mode. Seeing this, our guy understands the situation and decides on a new course of action. He smirks, telling the trapped king that if he can't get out, then they're both staying here together. This king can only watch in absolute terror as the world around them continues to break apart. Back in the real world, the control room is in full-blown panic, trying to forcibly disconnect their boss from the game. Meanwhile, the king's consciousness tries to make a run for it, but gets snagged by a familiar red tentacle. He's suddenly bound by glowing threads, completely unable to move and wondering what's happening, because our guy is using his new sea god powers to mentally lock him down, making sure he can't escape. This king desperately tries to bargain for his life, but our hero is completely done listening to his lies. Instead, he has his Cupid summon hit the guy's spirit with another blast of her mind control skill, which sends the king's avatar rocketing away through the glitching dimension. He manages to pull himself together and taunts our hero from a distance, thinking he's finally safe. His victory lap is cut short when another massive tentacle grabs him right out of the air. And things get really weird back in the lab as those same tentacles start phasing into the real world. This technicians can only stare in disbelief, pretty sure this isn't supposed to be a feature. From inside the game, our hero vows that the king is absolutely going to pay for all this. This lab crew, however, starts celebrating as a headless body walks out of a portal, calling it a miracle. With the portal finally closed, the immediate threat of giant tentacles seems to be over for now. This king wakes up in his gaming chair, gasping for air and realizing he barely escaped with his life. He quickly straightens his tie, trying to act like he had it all under control the entire time. A man in a suit, the CEO of this whole operation, strolls in to discuss the results. He then points to a captured tentacle in a containment tube, asking about our hero's new pet. The CEO orders a total lockdown on the incident, calling this breach a miracle that must be kept secret. This king smugly suggests the CEO needs to invest more if he wants results, while the CEO looks less than thrilled. The CEO is thrilled with the captured tentacle, promising to dump a ton of money into researching it, but their celebration is cut short as the specimen just dissolves into nothing, leaving them totally stunned. Turns out, back in the game, our hero just dispelled the sea god's form, causing the real-world sample to vanish. He's a little bummed that the king managed to escape during all the chaos, sliding down a cliff face, annoyed that he let his main target get away at the last second. He lands with a frustrated punch, but his attention is immediately drawn elsewhere by a giant ancient statue that thanks him for restoring order to the world. As a reward, the statue gifts him the Stone of Creation, a world-building item that also grants teleportation. With this new spatial power, he figures the king won't be able to corner him so easily next time. His little Cupid summon immediately bonds with the stone, becoming its dedicated space manager. She gets a pretty sweet power-up, glowing as she fully merges with the artifact's energy. Now that the Trojan horse is gone, our guy needs a new way to get intel on the real world, when suddenly some random knight tackles him, calling him Abraham and acting like a total superfan. Our hero is completely baffled, wondering how this guy could possibly know his secret alias. This fanboy is on his knees, thanking him for all his sacrifices for the good of the game. He tearfully explains the new official story. Our guy is a legendary developer who trapped himself to fix a bug. Our hero just smirks, realizing the king spun the whole disaster into some kind of PR stunt. He knows the king and his boss are already cooking up their next big scheme. So he grabs the fanboy and demands to know what's been happening in the game while he was away. This knight tells him that a mysterious new city just appeared, and guilds are already rushing to explore it. Abraham tells the knight to lead the way, deciding they might as well check out this mysterious new city. But before they can even move, a glowing blue card materializes right in front of him, and a voice from the card warns him not to go, as it shifts to a sinister purple hue. A red-haired witch then emerges, explaining that everyone who entered that city has vanished. It's a trap. Our guy is immediately suspicious, demanding to know why some random witch is suddenly helping him out. She explains that since the company revealed his Abraham alias, his identity is now an open secret. Turns out, she has spies inside the game company and has been gathering intel on the whole operation. Getting uncomfortably close, she reveals she knows he's not just playing a game, he's actually trapped inside. She then offers to be his eyes and ears on the outside, proposing a formal alliance. Abraham isn't buying it for a second, asking what she really wants from him and why he should trust her. She plays it coy, claiming all she wants in return is for him to treat her to dinner sometime. He sees right through the act, realizing the king is using countless other players as bait just to lure him in. Since they went to all this trouble, he decides to play along and summons a massive golden dragon mount. Arriving at the city, they find it's just a desolate wasteland crawling with zombies. These aren't your standard low-level mobs either, looking pretty nasty up close with their glowing red eyes. A massive blast of golden light immediately vaporizes a group of them upon entry, leaving our hero, the knight, and his new witch ally standing ready as the dust settles. He smirks, ready to see what this trap is all about, and finally settle the score with the king.